Chi training, foundation establishment, golden core, nascent soul, spirit transformation, void refinement, body integration, tribulation transcendence. Brain storage. This is a Sun Shuangwen cathartic wish fulfillment novel. A real Sun. Inside the main hall of the Qingyun sect, 12 coiling dragon pillars supported the high dome. Morning light slanted in through the carved long windows, cutting out alternating squares of light and shadow on the smooth, dark jade floor. Lin Xiyen stood in the center of the hall, dressed in a Qing shirt so washed it had faded, his figure so thin he looked like a gust of wind could blow him over. His gaze rested calmly on the point 3 zhang, approximate 10 meters in front of him, where his junior brother, Qin Yu, was waving his arms excitedly, spittle flying in the beams of light. The sect's mystic water pearl has been missing for 7 days. The heavily guarded treasure pavilion, without an internal accomplice. How could outsiders easily enter? Qin Yu's voice echoed in the hall. He paused deliberately, his gaze sweeping over the elders sitting on both sides, finally settling on Lin Xiyen. And senior brother, you were precisely the last disciple to enter the treasure pavilion to register techniques before the theft. Lin Xiyen did not speak, but merely raised his eyes slightly. His early-stage nascent soul cultivation made him appear particularly weak in front of the elders and junior brothers and sisters, all of whom were at least in the mid-stage nascent soul realm. He could feel the gazes cast from all around, some suspicious, some indifferent, some gloating, but none trusting. Junior brother Qin Yu, Lin Xiyen said, his voice as calm as still water. I entered the treasure pavilion to transcribe detailed explanations of basic formations for the newly initiated disciples. It is recorded in the registry, and the elder guarding the pavilion can testify. Testify? Qin Yu sneered, taking a memory stone from his sleeve. Coincidentally, I was cultivating outside the treasure pavilion that day, and I happened to record something interesting. He activated his spiritual power, and the memory stone projected a screen of light. In the picture, Lin Xiyen did indeed walk out of the main entrance of the treasure pavilion. However, shortly after he left, a blurry shadow flashed past from the side window of the pavilion. Due to the angle and lighting, it was impossible to see the specific appearance of the shadow, only that its figure bore some resemblance to Lin Xiyen. What does this prove? Junior sister Su Wan spoke softly. She was one of the sect's disciples with the highest cultivation, already at the late stage of nascent soul. The shadow is blurry and indistinct, perhaps due to light refraction. Senior sister is right. Qin Yu put away the memory stone, changing his tone, but when that shadow left, there was a faint flash of lightning under its feet. As everyone knows, 15 years ago, when senior brother defeated the Saint of the Thunderclap Holy Land in the Heavenly Gang Martial Tournament, he was injured by the opponent's 9 Heavens Thunderclap art, and even now, a wisp of thunder power remains entwined around his nascent soul. The hall was immediately filled with murmurs. Lin Xiyen felt the tiny nascent soul sitting in his dantian, trembling slightly. Yes, that strand of golden-purple lightning was like a living thing, twining around the nascent soul, and had never dissipated in 15 years. It was both proof of glory and a brand of curse. Enough. The Qingyun sect master, Yinqing Zhenren, finally spoke from the head seat. His hair and beard were all white, his face gaunt, and his eyes were as deep as an ancient well, revealing no emotion. The matter of the mystic water pearl theft will be investigated by the Hall of Law Enforcement. Yinqing Zhenren's voice was flat. Qin Yu, you have accused your senior brother in public without conclusive evidence. You are sentenced to 3 days of facing the wall in repentance. Master, Qin Yu is unconvinced. Even if the matter of the mystic water pearl is set aside for now, senior brother's cultivation has stagnated for 15 years, and now even newly initiated disciples have reached the foundation establishment completion stage. Yet he still remains at the early stage of nascent soul. The position of senior brother of a sect should be a model for disciples. With such cultivation, how can he be convincing? These words were like a stone thrown into a calm lake. stirring up waves in the hearts of many. Lin Xiyen could feel those gazes becoming more complicated. Second junior brother Zhao Hong turned his face away. Fourth junior brother lowered his head and played with the hem of his clothes. Fifth junior sister hesitated, wanting to say something. The sixth, seventh, and eighth junior brothers, who used to sweetly call him senior brother, while following behind him. Not a single one stood up for him. Yes, 15 years. He still remembered the Qingyun sect of 15 years ago, with only 100 or so people in the entire sect, simple mountain gates, and scarce resources. At that time, he was the master's only disciple, the sect's only hope. Every morning, he practiced swordsmanship on Chaoyang Peak. In the afternoon, he helped his master manage the medicinal herb garden, and in the evening, he explained cultivation techniques to his junior brothers and sisters, although those so-called junior brothers and sisters were no more than a dozen outer sect disciples. The Heavenly Gang Martial Tournament changed everything. In that grand event that gathered young geniuses from all over the continent, he passed through one obstacle after another, finally meeting Lei Wuji, the saint of the Thunderclap Holy Land, in the final. That battle lasted 3 days and 3 nights. At the last moment, Lei Wuji sacrificed the Holy Land's secret 9 heavens thunderclap art, pouring down a sea of thunder from the sky. Everyone thought he had lost. Even his master prepared to rush onto the stage to admit defeat. But he persevered. At the cost of burning 3/10 of his essence blood, he forcibly broke through the sea of thunder and pierced Lei Wuji's protective thunder light with his sword. The price was that his nascent soul was invaded by a trace of thunder origin, and his cultivation stagnated from then on. But he won. The words Qingyun Sect, Lin Xiyen, spread throughout the continent overnight, and the Qingyun Sect's mountain gate was almost trampled by people coming to seek apprenticeship. His master took in one outstanding disciple after another. The sect expanded, resources became abundant, and it jumped from a third-rate small sect to a leader among second-rate sects. In the early years, his master often took him to visit famous doctors, searching for ways to resolve the thunder power. The elders were still respectful to him, and the junior brothers and sisters were full of admiration. But as time passed, when second junior brother broke through to the mid-stage nascent soul realm, and third junior sister also overtook him, those gazes gradually changed. The position of senior brother is not only about cultivation. Yin Xingzhenren's voice pulled Lin Xiyen back from his memories, but also about responsibility, temperament, and seniority. Lin Xiyen has made an immortal contribution to the sect. This matter need not be discussed any further. But Master, Qinyu, Yin Xingzhenren raised his voice slightly. Your words and actions today were inappropriate. Facing the wall is increased to 7 days. Go to the cliff of contemplation now. Qinyu gritted his teeth, glared fiercely at Lin Xiyen, and flapped his sleeves and left. Silence fell in the hall. Lin Xiyen bowed slightly. If there is nothing else, this disciple will take his leave. Wait! Yin Xingzhenren looked at him, a subtle emotion flashing in his eyes. Xianer, your nascent soul. Has it improved recently? Thank you for your concern, Master. It is still the same as before, Lin Xiyen replied. Another moment of silence. Go down. Yin Xingzhenren finally waved his hand. Lin Xiyen turned and walked towards the hall door, his Qing shirt casting a long shadow in the morning light. He could feel those gazes behind him, his master's hesitant words, the elders' complex expressions, the junior brothers' and sisters' alienation and indifference. Stepping out of the hall, a mountain breeze brushed against his face, carrying the chill of early autumn. The Qingyun sect was no longer what it used to be. The 12 main peaks were surrounded by mist and clouds, with flying pavilions and painted buildings scattered like stars, spiritual birds and exotic beasts flying among them, and disciples flying to and fro on their swords, a truly immortal scene. All of this was exchanged for by that victory of his. But now, he seemed to have become an incompatible old shadow in this flourishing scene. Senior brother, a voice came from behind him. Lin Xiyen turned around and saw third junior sister, Su Wan, chasing after him. She was wearing a water blue long dress. Her appearance was beautiful and refined, and she was already one of the faces of the Qinyun sect in this generation. Third junior sister, Lin Xiyen nodded. Su Wan bit her lip, seeming to want to say something, but in the end, she only said softly, "Junior brother Qinyu is young and impetuous. He speaks without thinking. Senior brother, don't take it to heart." "It's all right," Lin Xiyen smiled. "He is speaking the truth." "Senior brother." A touch of unbearable pity flashed in Su Wan's eyes. "Actually, everyone in the sect is grateful for what happened back then. It's just that the cultivation world is a world of the strong preying on the weak, and the competition between sects is fierce, so the position of senior brother is indeed eye-catching. If senior brother feels too much pressure, actually you can what? Voluntarily abdicate?" Lin Xiyen understood in his heart. "I understand," he interrupted her. "Is there anything else, junior sister?" Su Wan shook her head, looking at Lin Xiyen's calm and unwavering eyes. She suddenly felt a little guilty. She remembered when she first entered the sect, it was this senior brother who taught her how to guide qi into her body step by step, and waited overnight when she failed her first foundation establishment. But now, she was already at the late stage of nascent soul, only one step away from spirit transformation, while senior brother. "Then I'll go refine pills first." She hurriedly bowed and flew away on her sword. Lin Xiyen watched her disappear into the horizon, the smile on his face gradually fading. He slowly walked down the long white jade steps, encountering many disciples along the way. Some saluted hurriedly, some pretended not to see him, some whispered to each other, "That's senior brother? He looks so ordinary. I heard he was very powerful 15 years ago, but it's a pity now. Early stage nascent soul. I'll be able to reach foundation establishment completion next year, and I might be able to catch up to him in a few years. Keep your voice down. He's coming over." Lin Xiyen pretended not to hear and walked straight towards his residence, a small courtyard in the most remote part of Chiyang Peak. This was a place he chose when the sect was still small. Now those better caves around it all had owners. Only here had not changed in 15 years. Pushing open the courtyard gate, a simple and clean small courtyard came into view. An old peach tree, a stone table, 2 stone benches, 3 bamboo houses. He walked into the quiet room, sat down cross-legged, and closed his eyes to look inward. In the Dantianchi Sea, a 3-inch tall, nascent soul sat quietly in a lotus position. Unlike ordinary nascent souls, this nascent soul was light gold in color, with a strand of thin, hair-like golden-purple lightning wrapped around it. The lightning slowly wandered like a living thing, and each movement brought a slight, stinging pain. This was a feeling that had never stopped for 15 years. However, if there was a second person who could look inward at his nascent soul at this moment, they would be shocked to discover that seemingly torturous lightning was actually merging with the nascent soul in a mysterious way. Inside the nascent soul, majestic spiritual power was like a sleeping volcano, its thickness far exceeding the early stage of nascent soul, and even reaching the spirit transformation stage. Lin Xiyen opened his eyes, and deep in his pupils, a touch of golden-purple thunder light flashed and disappeared. He walked to the window, looking at the distant mountains like black eyebrows and the sea of clouds rolling and tumbling. 3 months left. He muttered to himself softly, "The origin of the thunder will be completely refined." Outside the window, a message paper crane flew over and unfolded in front of him into a line of words. 3 days later, the ancient Thunder Abyss secret realm will open, and each sect can select disciples to enter. The sect has decided that Qinyu, Su Wan, Zhao Hong, and Lin Xiyen will go. Be prepared. Master's personal handwriting. Lin Xiyen looked at the line of words, and the corner of his mouth hooked into an extremely faint arc. Junior brother, you are pressing on step by step. Master, you are silently condoning. Sect, you are watching with cold eyes. Then let me see, what kind of expression will you have when the thunder truly blooms? The cliff of contemplation was located on the deepest cliff of the back mountain of Qinyun sect, surrounded by abyss on 3 sides, shrouded in clouds, and mist all year round. There was only a simple stone room on the top of the cliff, a stone bed, a stone table, and nothing else. Lin Xiyen sat cross-legged on the stone bed, closing his eyes and adjusting his breath. The spiritual energy here was thin, which was a great torment for ordinary cultivators, but for him at this moment, it was just right. The thin spiritual energy meant less external interference, allowing him to focus more on looking inward at himself, observing every change in his nascent soul. Night fell, the cold wind on the cliff top was biting, making the only window of the stone room howl. Lin Xiyen opened his eyes, a flash of golden-purple lightning flickering within. He slowly exhaled a breath of turbid air, the vapor lingering in the air without dissipating, faint arcs of electricity crackling within. Almost there, he murmured to himself. For 15 years, this was the first time he had completely relaxed his disguise to the outside world. In the main hall, in front of his fellow disciples, even in front of his master, he had deliberately suppressed the restlessness of his nascent soul, maintaining the facade of damaged nascent soul, stagnating cultivation. But here, it wasn't necessary. Lin Xiyen closed his eyes again, his mind sinking into his Dantian's Qi Si. There, the golden nascent soul still sat in meditation, the golden-purple lightning coiling around it several times more active than during the day. If an outsider were to internally inspect him at this moment, they would surely be shocked by the scene before them. The lightning wasn't destroying the nascent soul, but was tempering every inch of it, again and again, in a mysterious trajectory. With each sweep of lightning, the color of the nascent soul deepened. Its texture became more solid. This was the transformation process of the nine heavens thunder god infant, using thunder as the hammer and the nascent soul as the iron, forging it thousands of times to create a divine infant. Lin Xiyen's divine sense gently touched the wisp of lightning. In an instant, memories flooded back like a tide. 15 years ago, the final arena of the heavenly gang martial meet. A sea of lightning poured down from the sky, and Lei Wuji stood in the center of the lightning sea, his long hair dancing wildly, his eyes full of disdain. Lin Xiyen, admit defeat. My nine heavens thunder is the most firm and masculine power in the world. How can your mere azure cloud sect techniques withstand it? Lin Xiyen knelt on one knee. His long sword plunged into the arena, barely supporting his body. He was covered in wounds, his clothes torn, and blood dripped down the blade, blooming into dark red flowers on the scorched arena. But he didn't admit defeat. Looking up at the audience, his master, true person Yin Qing, had already stood up, his lips moving slightly, clearly saying, "Admit defeat, Xianer. Enough is enough. Enough. No, not enough." The Azure Cloud sect needed this victory, needed this honor, needed to let the entire continent know that even without the abundant resources and heritage of the Holy Lands, they could still cultivate the most outstanding genius. Lin Xiyen took a deep breath, and the remaining blood essence in his body began to burn. He straightened his body, drew his long sword, and pointed the tip at Lei Wuji again. In the second half of that battle, the entire cultivation world saw it clearly through the water mirror technique. Lin Xiyen, burning his blood essence, was like a madman, exchanging injury for injury, life for life, and finally pierced through Lei Wuji's protective lightning with a single sword. But the moment the long sword pierced the other's shoulder, a wisp of the purest thunder origin also flowed back along the blade, entered Lin Xiyen's body, and went straight for his Dantian's nascent soul. "Even if I lose, I will leave an eternal mark on your nascent soul." Lei Wuji grinned savagely as he was pulled away by the referee. Lin Xiyen won, but as Lei Wuji said, that wisp of thunder origin was like a maggot on a bone, firmly entangling his nascent soul. In the first 3 months, the lightning erupted 3 times a day, each time like a million ants gnawing at his heart. The entire Azure Cloud sect exhausted all their strength, searched for famous doctors, and tried all kinds of elixirs, but no one could resolve this thunderous secret of the Holy Land. This is thunder origin, not ordinary thunder power, sighed a loose immortal in the transformation stage who had been invited at the time. Unless there's a higher level of thunder technique to refine and absorb it otherwise, I'm afraid it will accompany you for life. True person Lin Xiyen's face was pale. A higher level of thunder technique? The Nine Heavens thunder technique is already the best thunder technique in the world. Where can there be a higher one? The loose immortal was silent for a moment, then lowered his voice. Legend has it that in ancient times there was a Thunder Emperor inheritance, whose Nine Heavens divine thunder technique was the source of all thunder. But the Thunder Emperor's inheritance has been cut off for 10,000 years, and there is nowhere to find it. Hope was thus broken. The tide of memory receded, and Lin Xiyen's consciousness returned to the stone chamber. He looked down at his hands, faint thunder patterns faintly appearing and disappearing in his palms. That transformation stage loose immortal was right and wrong. The Thunder Emperor's inheritance was indeed difficult to find, but what he didn't know was that the Thunder Holy Land's so-called Nine Heavens thunder technique was originally a fragment of the Thunder Emperor's inheritance, and the thunder power cultivated from the fragment, when encountering a true heir of the Thunder Emperor, was not only not harmful, but was instead the key to opening the inheritance. It was just that the process of opening this key was too painful and too long. 15 years. For 15 years, that wisp of thunder origin had been tempering his nascent soul day and night, and also brought unimaginable pain. There were several times when he almost gave up, wanting his master to help him disperse his cultivation and start over. But he endured it, because in the third year after his injury, during the most violent thunder eruption, he vaguely saw a phantom, an endless sea of thunder, and in the center of the thunder sea was a palace, and deep inside the palace a voice was calling him. The voice said, "Get through it. Wait until the thunder and the nascent soul are completely fused, and you will be my heir." From that day on, Lin Xiyen knew his path. He no longer sought to resolve the thunder, but began to try to guide it, understand it, and finally control it. This process was slow and dangerous, and if he was not careful, his nascent soul would collapse and his body and spirit would be destroyed. So he had to hide. He couldn't let anyone know what he was doing. He couldn't let anyone pay extra attention to him. The best disguise was to maintain the illusion of damaged nascent soul, stagnating cultivation, so that everyone gradually became accustomed to his mediocrity, allowing jealousy, scheming, and ridicule to surface. Only in this way, when the thunder truly bloomed, could he see the true faces of everyone. Only Master Lin Xiyen sighed softly. He remembered the first few years after his injury. True person Lin Xiyen had traveled almost every corner of the continent, looking for possible treatments. Once, in order to obtain a thunder sound grass, his master broke into the nest of a nascent soul stage monster alone and returned covered in blood, but still smiled and handed him the spiritual herb. "Xiner, try this. It is said to be very effective for thunder injuries." Another time, after hearing that a hermit in the East Sea could resolve thunder, his master took him across half the continent and waited by the sea for 3 months, only to receive a sentence of unable to help. In those years, his master's hair turned white very quickly. When did it start changing? Probably from when the sect became more and more prosperous and the number of disciples increased. New disciples with extraordinary talents made rapid progress in their cultivation. Second brother Zhao Heng formed his golden core in 10 years, shocking everyone. Third sister Su Wan completed her golden core in 12 years and was praised as a once-in-a-century genius. Fourth brother, fifth sister. One by one, they were breaking the records of the Azure Cloud sect, and Lin Xiyen remained in place. At first, his master would still comfort him. "Xiner, don't rush. Master will definitely find a way." Later, the comfort turned into silence. Later still, the silence turned into occasional, hesitant pauses. Lin Xiyen understood his master. As the sect master, true person Lin Xiyen had to be responsible for the entire sect. When other disciples showed amazing talent, the sect's resources would naturally be tilted towards those who could bring the future. This was human nature and the way for the sect to survive. But understanding was understanding, and when he saw the silent gaze of his master in the main hall, Lin Xiyen's heart still stung slightly. But it should be coming to an end, he muttered to himself. His divine sense internally inspected his dantian, and the nascent soul within had now turned into pure gold, and the wisp of golden-purple lightning had completely merged into the nascent soul, leaving only a lightning-shaped mark on the center of the nascent soul's brow. The nine heavens thunder god infant was complete. Not only that, but his cultivation had already quietly broken through the shackles of the nascent soul stage 3 years ago and entered the transformation stage. It was just that he had been suppressing it with secret techniques, making it look like he was still in the early stage of the nascent soul stage. The ancient thunder abyss secret realm. Lin Xiyen thought of the message from his master. He had heard of this place. It was a secret realm left over from ancient times, and it opened once every 100 years. It contained pure thunder power, which was a great opportunity for thunder cultivators. But the secret realm was also extremely dangerous, and only 3 out of 10 cultivators below the mid-stage of the nascent soul who entered it survived. His master was letting him go. Was it hoping that he would find an opportunity in the secret realm? Or Lin Xiyen shook his head, unwilling to think too deeply. It was late at night. The wind at the top of the cliff was even stronger, causing the door of the stone chamber to creak. Lin Xiyen was about to continue meditating when he suddenly sensed something. Someone was coming. He immediately restrained his aura, disguised it as the fluctuation of the early stage of the nascent soul again, and his expression also became tired and forbearing. The sound of footsteps grew closer and closer, stopping outside the stone chamber door. After a long time, the person outside the door sighed softly. It was his master. Lin Xiyen could hear the complex emotions in that sigh: concern, guilt, helplessness, and a kind of indescribable fatigue. True person Yin Xing stood outside the door for as long as it took to burn a stick of incense. Several times, Lin Xiyen felt his master's hand lift up, as if wanting to knock on the door, but in the end, he lowered it again. Finally, the sound of footsteps rang out again, gradually fading away. Lin Xiyen opened his eyes and saw his master's departing figure through the cracks in the stone chamber. In the moonlight, that once upright figure seemed a little hunched, and his white hair fluttered in the wind. "Master," he said softly, his voice so low that only he could hear it, "wait another 3 months. 3 months later, you will know that the disciple you desperately tried to save back then was always a genius." 7 days later, the morning bell echoed between the 12 peaks of the Azure Cloud Sect, startling the mountain's spiritual birds. Lin Xiyen walked out of the stone chamber, the morning light shining on his faded blue robe, outlining his slender yet upright figure. 7 days of confinement, a punishment to outsiders, was a rare period of tranquility for him. He slowly descended the stone steps of the Repentance Cliff, and when he arrived at the main peak square, he found that hundreds of disciples had already gathered there. In the center of the crowd, Qin was surrounded by a group of young disciples, animatedly talking about something. That ancient Thunder Abyss secret realm is a once-in-a-century opportunity. Qin Yu's voice clearly reached Lin Xiyen's ears. It said that the secret realm not only contains natural treasures left behind by ancient thunder, but there's also a chance to obtain lost thunder-type cultivation techniques. Senior Brother Qin is truly fortunate. With a natural thunder spiritual root, this secret realm is practically tailor-made for you. An outer disciple flattered. Qin Yu's lips curled up, deliberately raising his voice. "That's natural. I drew thunder into my body at the age of 3, refined qi at 7, established my foundation at 15, and now, at only 28, I have already stepped into the late golden core stage. This Thunder Abyss secret realm is the best opportunity for me to break through to the nascent soul stage." A chorus of exclamations rose around him. Lin Xiyen remained expressionless, intending to bypass the crowd from the edge. But Qin Yu's sharp eyes immediately spotted him. "Oh, senior brother has come out?" Qin Yu parted the crowd, walked up to Lin Xiyen, and deliberately sized him up. 7 days apart, senior brother's complexion seems even worse. This remark drew a burst of suppressed laughter from the surrounding disciples. Lin Xiyen stopped and looked at this junior brother. Qin Yu was indeed exceptionally talented. His natural thunder spiritual root was 1 in 10,000 in the cultivation world, and it was no wonder that the master had broken precedent to accept him as a personal disciple back then. Knowing that the Azure Cloud sect had not had a thunder spiritual root cultivator for 3 generations. Junior brother Qin Yu's complexion is not bad either, Lin Xiyen responded blandly. That's natural. Qin Yu took out an object from his storage ring, a short blade entirely entwined with violet lightning. Yesterday, the master bestowed upon me the violet lightning blade, a top-grade mysterious tier magic treasure containing a strand of heavenly thunder essence, specifically for subduing evil and in creatures. The master said it might be useful in the Thunder Abyss secret realm. As the violet lightning blade appeared, the surrounding spiritual energy slightly vibrated, and the arcs of electricity dancing on the blade made buzzing sounds, obviously demonstrating its extraordinary power. Many disciples' eyes revealed envy. A top-grade mysterious tier magic treasure was already the pinnacle configuration among the younger generation of the Azure Cloud sect, and even the personal disciples of several elders might not have one each. Lin Xiyen's gaze lingered on the violet lightning blade for a moment. He could feel that this magic treasure did indeed contain a trace of heavenly thunder essence. Although thin, its quality was pure. It seemed the master had really invested a lot in Qin Yu's trip to the secret realm. "Congratulations, junior brother," Lin Xiyen nodded, preparing to leave. "Senior brother, please wait." Qin Yu blocked his path, a hint of mockery flashing in his eyes. "Speaking of which, senior brother was injured by thunder power back then, wasn't he? This Thunder Abyss secret realm is full of ancient thunder, an opportunity for ordinary cultivators, but for senior brother, it's probably a dangerous place, right?" His words were clever, ostensibly showing concern, but every word pierced the heart. The surrounding disciples fell silent, their gazes shifting back and forth between Lin Xiyen and Qin Yu. Lin Xiyen was silent for a moment before slowly speaking. "Junior brother worries too much." "I'm not worrying too much." Qin Yu put away his smile, becoming serious. "The Thunder Abyss secret realm is extremely dangerous. The survival rate for cultivators below the nascent soul stage is less than 30%. Senior brother, your nascent soul is damaged, your cultivation is stagnant, and if you really encounter danger, I'm afraid." He deliberately didn't finish, but his meaning was already obvious. Just then, the sound of something cutting through the air came from the sky. 3 streaks of sword light landed, revealing 3 figures: the second senior brother Zhao Heng, the third senior sister Su Wan, and the law enforcement hall Elder Mo Wentian. "What are you all doing here?" Elder Mo Wentian's voice was dignified, and the pressure of his golden core, great perfection cultivation spread out, immediately quieting the square. The disciples bowed in succession. Qin Yu also put away his arrogant demeanor and respectfully said, "Reporting to Elder Mo, this disciple is discussing the Thunder Abyss secret realm with the other disciples." Mo Wentian nodded, his gaze sweeping over the crowd, pausing slightly when it landed on Lin Xiyen, a complex expression flashing in his eyes. "Now that everyone is almost here, I will announce something." Mo Wentian cleared his throat. "In 3 days, the ancient Thunder Abyss secret realm will open at Burial Thunder Mountain. This secret realm appears once every 100 years and only opens for 10 days each time. After 10 days, the entrance will close and you'll have to wait another 100 years. He paused, continuing, "The secret realm contains pure ancient thunder power, a great opportunity for thunder-type cultivators, but it is also extremely dangerous. After discussion by the sect higher-ups, it has been decided to select 4 disciples to enter. A murmur immediately rose in the square. 4? That's so few. They must all be personal disciples. Senior Brother Qin will definitely get a spot. He has a thunder spiritual root. Mo Wentian raised his hand to signal silence, then said loudly, those selected must meet 2 conditions. First, their cultivation must be at least at the golden core stage. Second, they must have a means or talent to resist the power of thunder. His gaze swept over the crowd. After evaluation, the 4 selected are Qin Yu, Su Wan, Zhao Hong. No one was surprised by the 3 names. Qin Yu had a thunder spiritual root. Su Wan was in the late golden core stage, and Zhao Hong was in the mid-golden core stage, all of whom were the best of the Azure Cloud sect's current generation. As for the 4th person, Mo Wentian paused, and the square was as quiet as a graveyard. The corner of Qin Yu's mouth curled into a sneer, obviously already guessing what was coming. Sure enough, Mo Wentian slowly uttered the last name, Lin Xiyen. What? Senior Brother? This Senior Brother's nascent soul is damaged, isn't it? Entering the Thunder secret realm is suicide. The discussion erupted. The smile on Qin Yu's face froze, and he suddenly looked up. Elder Mo, this is inappropriate. Senior Brother was seriously injured by thunder power 15 years ago, and his nascent soul has not healed to this day. Entering the Thunder Abyss secret realm is tantamount to courting death. Mo Wentian glanced at him calmly. This is the sect master's will. Qin Yu opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but ultimately didn't dare to question his master's decision. But his eyes were full of unwillingness and resentment. Why? Why should a waste in the early nascent soul stage occupy a precious secret realm spot? Suwan wanted to say something, but stopped herself, while Zhao Hong was expressionless. Lin Xiyen himself was also surprised. He thought his master would take advantage of the situation to let him continue to be low-key, but he didn't expect him to participate in this secret realm trip. Was it a test? An opportunity? Or? He looked up towards the direction of the main peak hall, where clouds and mist swirled, obscuring the view inside. The 4 selected, gather here at Qin Hour 3 days from now. I will lead you to Burial Thunder Mountain. After Mo Wentian finished speaking, he looked at Lin Xiyen again. Lin Xiyen, come with me. Lin Xiyen followed Mo Wentian away from the square and arrived at a secluded bamboo forest. Nephew Lin, Mo Wentian stopped, turning around to look at him with a complex expression. The sect master asked me to give you a message. Please speak, Elder. Mo Wentian was silent for a moment before slowly saying, the sect master said that there may be an opportunity in the Thunder Abyss secret realm to resolve the thunder damage. He failed to protect you completely 15 years ago, and 15 years later, he wants to give you another chance. Lin Xiyen's heart jolted, but Mo Wentian's tone changed. The secret realm is dangerous, and the sect master cannot guarantee your safety. Therefore, whether you go or not is up to you to decide. Lin Xiyen looked up at the law enforcement elder, who was always known for his strictness. He noticed that Mo Wentian's eyes did not have their usual coldness, but rather a hint of forbearance. Thank you for conveying the message, Elder. Lin Xiyen bowed. Please tell the master, I am willing to go. Mo Wentian looked at him deeply. Have you thought it through? In your current state, entering the Thunder Abyss secret realm is a 9 in 10 chance of death. This disciple has thought it through, Lin Xiyen said calmly. Some roads must ultimately be walked alone. Mo Wentian nodded, saying nothing more, and flew away on his sword. Lin Xiyen stood alone in the bamboo forest, listening to the rustling of the bamboo leaves in the wind, his thoughts troubled. In these 15 years, he had seen too much of the warmth and coldness of human nature, and had long been accustomed to examining everything with the most calm eyes. But today, hearing his master's words, the heart that had been frozen for many years still stirred slightly, but to what end? Either to buy back his life or some other motive. But opportunity, Lin Xiyen muttered to himself, a faint smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. If they knew that the so-called thunder damage had long been refined and absorbed by him, that the so-called stagnant cultivation was just a disguise, and that the so-called damaged nascent soul was actually a once-in-a-lifetime fortune, what would they think? He reined in his thoughts and walked towards his small courtyard. Just as he reached the courtyard gate, he saw that Xiyen was already waiting there, his face gloomy. "Senior brother is truly skilled," Xiyen said coldly. "Despite having a damaged nascent soul, you can still have the master fight for a secret realm spot for you. Did you perhaps complain to the master about the grievances of these years?" Lin Xiyen pushed open the courtyard gate and said blandly, "If junior brother has nothing else, please leave." "I do have something." Xiyen followed him into the courtyard. "Since the master is letting you go, I have nothing to say, but the secret realm is full of dangers. So to ensure senior brother's safety, I suggest you and I team up." Lin Xiyen stopped and turned to look at Xiyen. Team up? With Xiyen's personality, there was no good intention in actively proposing to team up with him. This waste. "I appreciate junior brother's kindness," Lin Xiyen said calmly. "But there are different opportunities for everyone in the secret realm, so it's best to act separately." "How can that be?" Xiyen raised an eyebrow. "Senior brother's nascent soul is damaged. It's too dangerous to act alone. It's settled then, in the secret realm. I will take good care of senior brother." He deliberately emphasized the words "take good care," a sinister light flashing in his eyes. After saying that, Xiyen didn't wait for Lin Xiyen's response and turned to leave. Lin Xiyen watched his back disappear at the end of the bamboo forest path, golden-purple lightning flashing in his eyes. "Little junior brother, you're pressing me at every step, scheming at every turn. Little do you know, the trash senior brother in your eyes is no longer the young man who could be manipulated at will." 3 days later, the Thunder Abyss secret realm. "Let's wait and see." Lin Xiyen pushed open the door of the bamboo house, sunlight illuminating the simple meditation room. He sat cross-legged on a futon, closing his eyes to regulate his breathing. Within his dantian, the golden nine heavens thunder god infant slowly opened its eyes, the lightning mark on its brow glowing faintly. The spiritual energy of the entire Choyang Peak began to silently converge towards this small courtyard, only to be blocked by an invisible barrier, not leaking out in the slightest. Burial Thunder Mountain was located in the extreme north of the continent, shrouded in purple thunderclouds year-round. The mountain body was completely charred black, devoid of vegetation, with only the occasional lightning bolts striking and jumping on the ridge, emitting deafening roars. Lin Xiyen stood on the deck of the Azure Cloud Sect's flying boat, looking at this thunderous, forbidden zone before him. During the 3-day journey, he had barely spoken, only silently observing the 3 companions. Xiyen was naturally the most active, constantly asking Elder Mo Wentian about precautions for the secret realm, and dragging Su Wan and Zhao Heng to discuss team strategies. The 3 of them had clearly formed a small group, excluding Lin Xiyen. "Elder Mo, what would you say is the greatest danger in the Thunder Abyss secret realm?" Xiyen asked. Mo Wentian stood with his hands behind his back, gazing at the approaching Burial Thunder Mountain, and said in a deep voice, "Threefold danger. First, the ancient thunder that is ubiquitous in the secret realm. Touching it causes injury. Second, the thunderous beasts bred in the secret realm. Even the weakest are comparable to golden core cultivators. Third." He paused, his gaze sweeping across the 4 disciples, the cultivators of other sects. The flying boat slowly descended onto a relatively flat mountain col. Hundreds of cultivators had already gathered here, the colors of their sect robes and magic treasure lights interweaving, the air filled with tension. Lin Xiyen noticed that there were at least 6 sect banners, the most striking of which was, "The people of the Thunder Sacred Ground are here too," Zhao Heng whispered. Not far away, a team of cultivators wearing purple lightning-patterned robes stood solemnly, led by a middle-aged man with a stern face, his cultivation unfathomable. No one was within 3 zhang of them, and the cultivators of other sects subconsciously kept their distance. That is Elder Lin Xiyen of the Thunder's sacred ground, late-stage deity transformation. Lin Xiyen said in a low voice. This time, the Thunder sacred ground has sent 7 disciples to the secret realm, all with golden core cultivation or above and Thunder spiritual roots. A flash of heat appeared in Qin Yu's eyes, clearly full of yearning for the sacred ground cultivators. Just then, a muffled rumble echoed from the depths of Burial Thunder Mountain. The entire mountain began to shake, and the thunderclouds in the sky spun wildly, forming a huge purple vortex. "The secret realm is about to open," someone shouted. In the center of the vortex, a beam of purple light slammed down, striking a certain point on the mountain. The space in the struck area began to twist and tear, eventually forming a light gate 3 zhang high. Electrical light flowed within the gate, vaguely revealing another world. The secret realm is open, lasting 10 days. Elder Lin Xiyen of the Thunder's sacred ground announced in a voice like a bell. Disciples of each sect, enter in order. The Azure Cloud sect was 4th in line. When it was their turn, Lin Xiyen turned to look at the 4 disciples, his expression serious. "Remember, safety first. If you encounter an insurmountable danger, immediately crush the teleportation talisman. The sect will be waiting at the exit." He specifically looked at Lin Xiyen, his eyes holding an unspeakable complexity. "Lin Xiyen, take care of yourself." Lin Xiyen bowed slightly. "Disciple understands." The 4 entered the light gate one after another. The moment Lin Xiyen passed through the light gate, he felt a surge of violent, thunderous power rush towards him. However, the 9 heavens thunder god infant in his body only trembled slightly, and the power was absorbed and transformed, instead refreshing his spirit. Before him was a completely different world. The sky was dark purple, with countless lightning bolts darting through the clouds, yet strangely without any thunder. The ground was composed of some kind of black crystal, with deep pits formed by thunder everywhere. The air was filled with a scorched smell, and the spiritual energy was mixed with pure, thunderous power. "This is the Thunder Abyss secret realm." Suwan sighed softly. Qin Yu had already taken out his purple lightning blade, the blade emitting an excited hum as it sensed the surrounding thunderous power. "I can feel it. The thunderous power here is more than 10 times purer than the outside world. Let's follow the plan first." Zhao Heng unfolded a beast skin map. "First stop, Thunderbeast Canyon. There's a chance of finding thunder crystals there, which are precious materials for refining thunder-type magic treasures." The 4 flew on their swords, except for Lin Xiyen. His flying sword was the ordinary Azure Edge sword from 15 years ago, and its flying speed was noticeably slower. Qin Yu looked back at him, a hint of mockery curling at the corner of his mouth, but he deliberately slowed down. "Senior brother, keep up, don't fall behind." Lin Xiyen said nothing, only followed silently. Half an hour later, a huge canyon appeared ahead. The cliffs on both sides of the canyon were thousands of zhang high, and the walls were covered with purple crystals, those crystals occasionally bursting out with tiny sparks of electricity. "Thunderbeast Canyon is here." Zhao Heng put away the map. "Be careful. Thunderbeasts usually live in groups, and disturbing them means dozens of them." The 4 landed on the ground, concealing their auras, and proceeded cautiously. Within the canyon, the rocks were jagged, and huge skeletons could be seen from time to time, some clearly human, others belonging to unseen exotic beasts. "These are the cultivators who entered the secret realm before." Suwan's face was a little pale. Qin Yu didn't care, his gaze drawn to a fist-sized purple crystal on the cliff wall. "It's a high-grade thunder crystal." He leaped up, reaching out to pick it, but just as his fingertips touched the crystal, roar! A deafening roar came from the depths of the canyon, followed by dozens of purple figures pouncing from all directions. They were thunder beasts, resembling cheetahs but completely purple-black, their bodies entwined with electricity, their eyes scarlet, their speed extremely fast. "Not good, it's a Thunderbeast pack." Zhao Heng's face changed drastically. At least 30 of them, with 3 of them being late-stage golden core. The 4 were instantly surrounded. Qin Yu, Su Wan, and Zhao Heng immediately formed a triangular formation back-to-back, each summoning their magic treasures. Qin Yu's purple lightning blade shone brightly, slashing out arcs of electricity. Su Wan's azure water silk transformed into a curtain of water. Zhao Heng summoned an earth-yellow shield. Only Lin Xiyen was isolated. The 3 late-stage golden core Thunderbeasts seemed to see his weakness and pounced on him first. Their claws were charged with electricity, their speed so fast that they left afterimages in the air. "Senior brother, be careful," Su Wan exclaimed, but it was too late to help. A hint of a cold smile flashed in Qin Yu's eyes, deliberately slowing down half a beat. Just as the Thunderbeast's claws were about to touch Lin Xiyen's throat, Lin Xiyen moved. He didn't retreat, nor did he summon any magic treasures, only seemingly haphazardly dodging to the side. But that simple dodge happened to avoid the combined attack of the 3 Thunderbeasts. At the same time, he seemed to trip over a stone, staggering forward. That lurch happened to dodge another Thunderbeast's sneak attack from behind. "What luck!" Qin Yu snorted coldly, wielding the purple lightning blade to slash at a Thunderbeast. Lin Xiyen awkwardly got up from the ground, an ordinary iron sword somehow appearing in his hand. He seemingly swung the sword without any skill, each strike barely blocking the Thunderbeast's attack, yet always, luckily, avoiding a fatal blow at the crucial moment. To outsiders, this was a low cultivation cultivator struggling desperately, relying entirely on luck to avoid being torn to shreds in an instant. Only Lin Xiyen knew that the angle of each dodge, the force of each block, was accurate to the millimeter. He was even secretly guiding the Thunderbeast's attacks, allowing them to unintentionally interfere with the coordination of other Thunderbeasts. "This won't work." Zhao Heng's forehead was sweating. His earth shield was already cracking. "There are too many Thunderbeasts." "Use the Thunder Talisman." Qin Yu gritted his teeth, taking out a purple talisman from his storage ring. This was a 3rd-grade Thunder Talisman that his master had secretly given him before they left, equivalent to the full power of an early-stage nascent soul cultivator. Qin Yu was about to activate the talisman when he suddenly caught sight of Lin Xiyen's situation. A Thunderbeast seemed to have been accidentally injured by a companion, staggering towards Lin Xiyen, while Lin Xiyen was happening to have his back to it, completely unaware. Opportunity! A cold light flashed in Qin Yu's eyes, and the talisman, which was originally intended to be thrown into the Thunderbeast pack, shifted subtly in his wrist. The talisman transformed into a purple thunder light, shooting towards the ground behind Lin Xiyen. This attack wouldn't directly hit Lin Xiyen, but the aftermath of the explosion would be enough to shock him into the Thunderbeast pack. Afterwards, it could be completely explained as accidental injury, or losing control while trying to save him. The thunder light exploded. However, just before the explosion, Lin Xiyen seemed to slip and fell forward. The shockwave of the explosion brushed past his back, instead sending the Thunderbeast that was pouncing on him flying away. Even more coincidentally, the Thunderbeast that was sent flying crashed into another group of Thunderbeasts, causing a commotion. "Damn it!" Qin Yu cursed inwardly. Lin Xiyen got up from the ground, his clothes torn, his back scorched black, looking quite disheveled. He looked at Qin Yu, a hint of lingering fear in his eyes. "Thank you for your help, junior brother. I was almost hit." His eyes were too clear, so clear that Qin Yu couldn't tell if he was genuinely unaware or pretending. "It's good that senior brother is all right," Qin Yu said through gritted teeth, his heart filled with doubts. Was that just luck, just now? Just then, an even more terrifying roar echoed from the depths of the canyon. The entire canyon began to shake, and the thunder crystals on the cliff walls fell off. "It's the Thunderbeast King." Zhao Heng's face was as white as a sheet. "At least a mid-stage or even late-stage nascent soul. Let's go." The 4 could no longer bother with fighting, each urging their magical treasures to flee out of the canyon. The Thunderbeast King didn't chase after them, only let out a furious roar from the depths. as if warning the intruders. After escaping the canyon for several miles, the four stopped to catch their breath. Qin Yu, Su Wan, and Zhao Heng all suffered minor injuries, their clothes disheveled. Lin Xiyen looked the worst, his back scorched black, and blood still stained the corner of his mouth. "Senior brother, are you all right?" Su Wan asked with concern, handing over a bottle of healing pills. Lin Xiyen took the pills and said with a wry smile, "I'm fine, just some superficial injuries. If it hadn't been for junior brother's accidental blow, I'm afraid." He looked at Qin Yu, his eyes still clear. Qin Yu stared at him for a long time, and in the end, could only believe it was luck. After all, how could someone whose nascent soul was damaged and whose cultivation had stagnated for 15 years have avoided his scheme? "Senior brother is blessed by the heavens," Qin Yu said dryly. "Let's find a place to rest. We'll camp here tonight." The four found a relatively hidden stone cave and set up a simple defense formation. The night deepened. There was no moon in the secret realm, only the unceasing lightning in the sky, illuminating the earth with flickering light. Qin Yu and the other two had already entered a meditative state. Lin Xiyen sat at the cave entrance on guard. He closed his eyes and focused his mind, but his divine sense quietly spread out. Inside his body, the nine heavens thunder god, nascent soul, was greedily absorbing the pure thunder power of the secret realm. Every wisp of thunder here was a great supplement to him. In just one day, his cultivation had made a barely perceptible improvement. "I was right to come," Lin Xiyen thought to himself. Suddenly, his divine sense stirred. Someone was coming, not from outside, but from underground. Lin Xiyen remained still, continuing to meditate. After a moment, a nearly transparent phantom slowly rose from a certain spot on the cave floor. It was the phantom of an old man with white hair and a white beard, wearing a simple, ancient robe with thunder patterns, his eyes as deep as the starry sky. The old man's phantom floated in front of Lin Xiyen, looking him up and down, a look of surprise gradually appearing in his eyes. "Nine heavens, thunder, god, nascent soul," the old man murmured, his voice only audible to Lin Xiyen. "After 3,000 years, I finally see it again." Lin Xiyen's heart jolted, but he still maintained his meditative state. The old man's phantom circled him once, finally stopping in front of him. "Boy, stop pretending. I know you're awake." Lin Xiyen opened his eyes, looked at the old man's phantom, and golden-purple lightning flashed in his eyes. "Senior is? I am Lei Yuan, the guardian spirit of this secret realm." The old man's phantom stroked his beard, also under the command of the Thunder Emperor, the guardian of the Ninth Hall. He looked at Lin Xiyen, his eyes full of praise. To be able to endure the nine heavens thunder for 15 years in a nascent soul state, and finally refine it for your own use. Your temperament and perseverance are worthy of the master's inheritance. Lin Xiyen got up and respectfully saluted. "Junior Lin Xiyen greets senior." "No need for formalities." Lei Yuan's phantom waved his hand. "I don't have much time, so let's get straight to the point. This Lei Yuan secret realm is one of the 9 inheritance places left by the master, the core of which is the Thunder Sacred Hall. But the Sacred Hall has 9 trials, which only the Thunder Emperor's successor can open." He paused. "Although you have the Thunder God nascent soul, you have not yet obtained the official inheritance, and you need to pass the trials to enter the Sacred Hall. Tomorrow you will arrive at the Thunder Trial platform, which is the first trial. I will secretly assist you, but you also need to make an effort." "Junior understands," Lin Xiyen nodded. Lei Yuan's phantom then looked at the 3 sleeping in the cave, especially Qin Yu. "That junior brother of yours has impure intentions. There's something wrong with the purple lightning blade on him." Lin Xiyen's eyes narrowed. "Please enlighten me, senior." "The origin of heavenly thunder in the blade has been mixed with a lightning attraction curse," Lei Yuan sneered. "Once it encounters strong enough thunder, it will be triggered, attracting all the surrounding thunder power to the blade holder. It's a plan to kill with a borrowed knife." Lin Xiyen was silent. "So, the master gave Qin Yu the purple lightning blade, not out of favoritism, but out of calculation. Using Qin Yu's hand to get rid of himself, and then explaining it as a secret realm accident, would not only eliminate him, this useless senior brother, but also not damage the reputation of the sect. A perfect two birds with one stone. Thank you for the reminder, Senior. Lin Xiyen's voice was calm, with no hint of joy or anger. Lei Yuan's phantom looked at him deeply. You are quite calm. All right, this is a matter between you, and I can't interfere. Remember, tomorrow at the Thunder Trial platform, I will help you at a critical moment, but the road after that is up to you. After speaking, the phantom slowly dissipated, as if he had never appeared. Lin Xiyen sat down again, looking at the lightning-filled sky outside the cave. Master, is this your choice? You'd rather I die in the secret realm than clean up the sect? He closed his eyes, and the nine heavens thunder god, nascent soul in his dantian slowly opened its eyes, the lightning mark between its eyebrows emitting a faint golden light. Very well. Since that's the case, then let everyone see. What kind of dazzling thunder the 15 years of forbearance, the 15 years of suffering and cold eyes, will ultimately unleash. At dawn, the purple sky in the secret realm began to turn dark red, and countless lightning bolts flowed like blood vessels in the clouds. Lin Xiyen opened his eyes. After a night of meditation, he had not only fully recovered from his injuries, but the nine heavens thunder god nascent soul had also grown stronger. The pure thunder power in the secret realm was like water to a fish. Awake! Qin Yu's voice came from the depths of the stone cave. He had already packed up, and the purple lightning blade spun casually in his hand. You worked hard last night on guard duty, senior brother. His tone held no gratitude, but rather a hint of probing. Lin Xiyen stood up, dusting the dirt off his green robe. It was my duty. Su Wan and Zhao Heng also woke up one after another. After a simple cleanup, the four set off again. According to the map, today's destination was the Thunder Trial platform, said to be the first trial leading to the core of the secret realm. They traveled in silence. The deeper they went into the secret realm, the more violent the thunder power became. Lightning bolts fell from the sky from time to time, blasting deep pits in the ground. Qin Yu held the purple lightning blade, its blade body vibrating excitedly, constantly absorbing the surrounding thunder power. Lin Xiyen followed silently at the back, seemingly struggling to avoid the scattered electric light. But if someone observed carefully, they would notice that his steps were always calm and unhurried, and that those seemingly dangerous dodges were actually effortless. Around noon, a huge platform appeared on the horizon ahead. The platform floated in mid-air, supported by 9 thunder-patterned stone pillars, each pillar 10 zhang thick and towering into the clouds. The surface of the platform was covered with complex thunder runes, which were slowly flowing at this moment, emitting an ancient and majestic aura. This is the Thunder Trial platform, Zhao Heng said with a solemn expression, comparing it to the map. It is said that those who ascend this platform must accept the baptism of 3 heavenly thunders, and if they can withstand it, they will see the path to the Thunder's sacred hall. There were already several groups of people on the platform. Lin Xiyen glanced over them. All 7 disciples of the Thunder Sacred Ground were there, as well as 3 other sect teams, totaling about 20 people. The people from the Azure Cloud sect have also arrived, a cold voice said. The speaker was a purple-robed youth from the Thunder Sacred Ground team, handsome but with a hint of arrogance. His name was Lei Wuchen, the younger brother of Lei Wuji, and his cultivation was at the great perfection of the Golden Core stage. Qin Yu's eyes lit up, and he quickly stepped forward to salute. Junior Qin Yu of the Azure Cloud sect greets the senior brothers of the Sacred Ground. Lei Wuchen glanced at him, his gaze lingering on the purple lightning blade in his hand for a moment, and nodded slightly. You are quite courteous, unlike some people. His gaze passed Qin Yu and fell on Lin Xiyen, a flash of coldness in his eyes. The person who injured my brother back then still has the face to set foot in the Thunder Emperor's inheritance ground? The air froze instantly. All eyes focused on Lin Xiyen. Lin Xiyen's expression was calm as he met Lei Wuchen's gaze. The heavenly gang competition. On the arena, life and death are determined by fate. Victory and defeat are in the hands of heaven. Senior brother Lei Wuji's skills were inferior. So how can there be any talk of injury? Lei Wuqian's body surged with thunderous light. Wuqian, junior brother. A gentle but unquestionable voice sounded. From the Thunder Sacred Ground team, the white-clothed woman who had been meditating with her eyes closed opened her eyes. She looked to be in her early 20s, her face as cold and clear as the moon, but her eyes seemed to contain the birth and death of thousands of thunderbolts. Senior sister. Lei Wuqian immediately restrained his aura and took half a step back. The white-clothed woman stood up, her gaze sweeping over Lin Xiyen. The Sacred Ground has never pursued the matter of that year. Arena competitions are won by the victor. That's all there is to it. She paused and continued. My name is Lin Xiyen, and I am the leader of the Thunder Sacred Grounds delegation. Since everyone is here seeking inheritance, they should focus on the trials. How about putting aside personal grudges for now? Although her words were gentle, they carried the unique pressure of a nascent soul stage cultivator. For a moment, everyone on the platform felt their breathing stagnate. Senior sister Qin Xian is right. Qin Yu quickly echoed. Inheritance is paramount. Inheritance is paramount. Lei Qin Xian said no more and resumed her meditation. At this moment, the thunder runes in the center of the thunder trial platform suddenly shone brightly, and the 9 stone pillars vibrated simultaneously. An old and majestic voice came from the depths of the platform. To enter the sacred hall, first endure the heavenly thunder. 3 trials, life and death at your own risk. As the voice faded, 9 light gates rose from the edge of the platform, and behind each gate, a path leading to the center was faintly visible. Each person chooses a gate to enter. The trial begins. The voice finished and disappeared. The crowd looked at each other, and quickly each chose a gate of light. The 7 members of the Thunder Holy Land were the first to step inside, and the others followed suit. Qin Yu looked at Lin Xiyen, a cold smile curving his lips. Eldest brother, let's each choose a gate. After all this trial, I'm afraid it's not suitable to go together. Lin Xiyen nodded and casually walked towards the leftmost gate of light. The moment he stepped through the gate, the surrounding scenery changed drastically. He found himself standing in a narrow passage, with towering stone walls on both sides and faint lightning flickering ahead. The first trial, enduring Thunderbody. Lei Yuan's voice echoed in Lin Xiyen's mind. There are 3 bolts of heavenly lightning at the end of the passage, which must be withstood by physical body. With your current thunder god nascent soul, the first 3 trials are easy as pie. But remember, pass them barely. Lin Xiyen understood and walked forward slowly. The passage was about 100 zhang long. With each step, the pressure of thunder in the air intensified. Ordinary golden core cultivators would probably find it difficult to even stand firm here. But the 9 heavens thunder god nascent soul within Lin Xiyen was excited beyond measure, constantly devouring the pressure. Reaching the end of the passage, a spacious area opened up before him. It was a stone chamber, 10 zhang square. At the top of the stone chamber was a huge thunder pool, filled with swirling electricity and rumbling sounds. The first heavenly thunder fall. A majestic voice echoed from the void. Boom! A bolt of purple lightning as thick as an arm struck down from the thunder pool, directly hitting Lin Xiyen's head. Lin Xiyen, hurriedly, raised his hands and channeled his spiritual power to resist. The lightning struck his protective spiritual light, erupting in a burst of sparks. He was knocked back 3 steps, a trace of blood spilling from the corner of his mouth, his face instantly paling. Pooh! He struggled to steady himself, gasping, "What powerful thunder!" In reality, the thunder god nascent soul devoured 90% of the lightning the moment it entered his body. He deliberately retained the remaining 10% to create the illusion of injury. The second, another bolt of lightning struck down, this time twice as thick. Lin Xiyen gritted his teeth. The lapel of his azure robes instantly charred. He half-knelt on the ground, his body trembling incessantly. The final bolt of lightning was as thick as a bucket, crashing down with earth-shattering power. Lin Xiyen screamed miserably, thrown backward and slammed heavily against the stone wall, then fell unconscious. The stone chamber fell silent. After a long time, the majestic voice spoke again. Enduring Thunder Body Trial passed. Grade C. The grades were A, B, and C, with C being the lowest passing grade. Lin Xiyen struggled to get up from the ground, wiping the bloodstains from the corner of his mouth and staggering towards the exit at the other end of the stone chamber. Outside the door was a larger platform, now with more than a dozen people gathered. Most of them had torn clothes and pale faces, clearly having undergone a brutal trial. Qin Yu was among them, and he looked to be in good condition. Only the tips of his hair were slightly singed. Seeing Lin Xiyen in this disheveled state, a hint of contempt flashed in his eyes. Eldest brother actually passed? Qin Yu feigned surprise. Seems like you had good luck. Lin Xiyen leaned weakly against the stone pillar, saying nothing. The second trial, comprehending Thunderheart. Lei Yuan's voice echoed again. This trial tests understanding of the Tao of Thunder. You need to comprehend the thunder runes on the stone wall within 3 hours. 9 stone walls appeared in front of the platform, each covered with dense runes. The crowd stepped forward, each choosing a stone wall to comprehend. Lin Xiyen walked to the stone wall in the far corner and sat down cross-legged. These runes were obscure and difficult to understand in the eyes of others, but in his eyes, they were all the basic chapters of the 9 Heavens Divine Thunder Manual. The Thunder Emperor's inheritance was truly interconnected. He frowned in contemplation, sometimes suddenly enlightened, sometimes shaking his head and sighing. After 3 hours, the stone wall lit up with a faint light, the sign of successful comprehension. The second trial passed. Grade C. Qin Yu had also passed, with a grade of B. He glanced at Lin Xiyen triumphantly. At this point, only 8 people remained on the platform. The others had been eliminated in the first 2 trials and crushed their teleportation talismans to leave the secret realm. The third trial, controlling thunder power. The majestic voice announced, turn the thunder runes you comprehended into actual attacks and shatter the thunderstones in front of you. A purple crystal stone appeared in front of each of the 8 people. The crystal surface flickered with lightning, obviously extremely solid. Lin Xiyen laboriously circulated his spiritual power, a wisp of weak electricity condensed at his fingertips. He tried a few times before barely shooting the electricity out, hitting the thunderstone. The thunderstone didn't budge. Eldest brother, how about using my method? Qin Yu suddenly said, the purple lightning blade in his hand shining brightly. The power of thunder can only be maximized with the aid of a magical weapon. As he spoke, he slashed at his own thunderstone with his blade. Where the blade light passed, the thunderstone shattered in response. The grade displayed was a, see that? Qin Yu put away his purple lightning blade, looking at Lin Xiyen with a smile that wasn't a smile. Sometimes, when cultivation is not enough, you have to rely on external forces. Lin Xiyen smiled bitterly and shook his head, continuing to clumsily try. Finally, on the third attempt, the thunderstone clicked and cracked a fissure. The third trial passed. Grade C. Of the 8 people, only 5 ultimately passed all 3 trials. Lei Xiyen and Lei Wuchen of the Thunder Holy Land, Qin Yu of the Azure Cloud Sect, and 2 elite disciples from other sects. Plus, Lin Xiyen, the C grade all-the-way straggler. Those who have passed all 3 trials may see the gate of the Holy Hall. The majestic voice rang out. In the center of the platform, the ground slowly split open, and a golden staircase rose from the ground, leading straight into the clouds. At the end of the staircase, the outline of a towering palace could be faintly seen. The palace was entirely purple and gold, with countless electro dragons wrapped around it. The Thunder Holy Hall. A fervent light appeared in the eyes of the 5 people. Qin Yu was so excited that his hands trembled slightly. The inheritance of the Holy Hall was within reach. "Let's go." Lei Wuqian was the first to step onto the staircase. The others followed closely. Lin Xiyen walked at the end, his steps faltering, as if he might fall at any moment. But no one noticed that in his lowered eyes, a golden-purple lightning flashed for an instant. When he stepped onto the 1,000th step, a sudden change occurred. The purple lightning blade in Qin Yu's hand suddenly trembled violently, the blade erupting with dazzling purple light. Then, all the stray thunder power in the sky seemed to be summoned, madly gathering towards the purple lightning blade. Qin Yu's expression changed drastically. He felt that the purple lightning blade was out of control. No, it wasn't out of control. The source of heavenly thunder within it was completely activated, frantically absorbing the surrounding thunder power. And the lightning attraction spell within the blade was also triggered. Not good. Lei Qingshuan's face changed. He's attracting heavenly thunder. Before her voice could fade, a thundercloud 100 li wide condensed in the sky. Electric light flashed like dragons within, emitting deafening roars. The next moment, countless lightning bolts poured down like rain, the target being none other than Qin Yu, holding the purple lightning blade. "No!" Qin Yu roared in terror, trying to throw away the purple lightning blade, but the blade seemed to be rooted in his hand, impossible to shake off. Lightning instantly engulfed him. "Save me! Master, save me!" Qin Yu screamed in the sea of thunder, his voice extremely miserable. However, the lightning attraction spell on the purple lightning blade was fully activated, not only attracting the heavenly thunder, but also forming a thunder vortex, attracting all the surrounding thunder power. Lei Qingshuan and the others' expressions changed drastically, and they retreated one after another. Even a transformation god, cultivator, wouldn't dare to face a heavenly thunder of this scale head-on. Only Lin Xiyen stood still, watching Qin Yu struggle in the sea of thunder, his eyes as calm as an ancient well. "Master, is this your plan?" "Using Qin Yu to attract heavenly thunder to get rid of me. But you didn't expect that Qin Yu would become the first sacrifice, did you?" He slowly raised his hand, golden-purple lightning flowing at his fingertips. "It's time. This place should come to an end." Lin Xiyen took a step forward, walking towards the devastating sea of thunder. In the shocked gazes of the crowd, a dazzling golden-purple light suddenly erupted from his body, the brilliance so intense that it surpassed the lightning in the sky. "The Thunder God has returned. The Holy Hall shall open. From today onwards, the name Lin Xiyen of the Azure Cloud Sect will once again resound throughout the continent." The sea of thunder churned, electric light like dragons. Qin Yu's miserable screams seemed especially piercing amidst the sky of thunder. The purple lightning blade clung tightly to his palm. The lightning attraction spell was like a greedy viper, frantically sucking the secret realm of all the thunder power, and then all poured into Qin Yu's body. "Master! Master, save me!" Qin Yu was bleeding from all 7 orifices, his skin was charred and cracked. The purple lightning blade of the thunder was from the Armoridian's retrograde up, straight into the Dantian golden core. He stared at Lin Xiyen, his eyes filled with terror and resentment. "It's you. It must be you who tampered with the purple lightning blade." Lin Xiyen didn't answer, only quietly watched his junior brother struggling in the sea of lightning. Golden purple light emanated from his body, forming a thin layer of light shield, isolating the violent lightning. This scene, falling into the eyes of the others, caused a massive shock to their hearts. "That's body-protecting lightning gong." Lei Wuqian of the Lightning Holy Land's pupils suddenly shrank. How is that possible? He's clearly only in the early nascent soul stage, and his nascent soul is damaged. A strange glint flashed in Lei Qingshuan's beautiful eyes. She saw it more clearly. It wasn't ordinary body-protecting lightning gong. The origin of lightning contained within was terrifyingly pure. even a level higher than the 9 heavens lightning inherited by the Holy Land. Senior brother, Qin Yu suddenly changed his tone, his voice miserable. I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have been jealous of you, shouldn't have said bad things about you in the sect. Save me, for the sake of being fellow disciples. He stretched out his other hand, not yet completely charred, struggling to reach towards Lin Xiyen. Lin Xiyen remained silent. The purple lightning blade that Master gave you was for you to kill me. He finally spoke, his voice calm without a trace of emotion. Right. Qin Yu's whole body trembled. The lightning-drawing curse within the blade requires the wielder to activate it with their own blood. Lin Xiyen continued. Once it encounters a sufficiently strong lightning environment, the curse will automatically activate, drawing down heavenly lightning. But the target isn't the enemy, but the wielder himself. He slowly stepped forward, treading into the sea of lightning, each step causing the lightning under his feet to obediently disperse. Master told you that this purple lightning blade is a life-saving treasure for you to use when you encounter danger in the secret realm. Lin Xiyen stopped 3 steps away from Qin Yu. But he didn't tell you that the true purpose of this blade is to use your hands to kill me. And the price is your life. Impossible. Qin Yu roared. How could Master? How could he not? Lin Xiyen interrupted him. A senior brother with a damaged, nascent soul and stalled cultivation for 15 years is already a burden to the sect. But a disciple with extraordinary talent and a promising future as a lightning spiritual root can become the sect's new poster child. He looked down at Qin Yu kneeling in the sea of lightning. But if they directly depose me, it would give people a bad impression, saying that the Azure Cloud sect is ungrateful. So the best way is to let me accidentally die in the secret realm. And you became the best executor and also the scapegoat. Qin Yu's face turned from charred black to deathly gray. He remembered the scene when Master Yun Qingzhen secretly summoned him before their departure. I have something I need to entrust to you for this trip to the secret realm. Yun Qingzhen's hand rested on Qin Yu's shoulder, his eyes kind. Your senior brother's nascent soul is damaged. His cultivation is stalled, and he hasn't had it easy these past few years. You must take care of him in this secret realm. This disciple understands. Take this purple lightning blade. Yun Qingzhen handed him the short blade. There's a source of heavenly lightning within the blade. When you encounter danger, activate it by stimulating it with your blood. It can draw down heavenly lightning to protect you. Remember, you must use it in a place with dense lightning, or the power will be insufficient. Now that he thought about it, that phrase, a place with dense lightning, was waiting here. Master, why would Master do this? Qin Yu muttered to himself, the last glimmer of light extinguished in his eyes. Because both you and I are nothing more than pawns. Lin Xiyen's voice was very light. The difference is that my pawn has already completed its mission, while your pawn still thinks it can become a player. As his voice fell, Lin Xiyen raised his hand and pressed down. The boundless sea of lightning suddenly stilled. All the electric light, thunder, and violent energy were frozen in that instant. Then they began to rotate, contract, and finally turned into a golden-purple pillar of light 100 zhang thick, crashing down. But it wasn't falling towards Qin Yu. It was falling towards Lin Xiyen. He's crazy, Lei Wuchen exclaimed. The lightning Holy Land was famous for its lightning techniques, and he knew better than anyone the power of destruction contained in that lightning pillar. It was a heavenly punishment sufficient to destroy a god transformation stage, cultivator both body and soul. However, the next moment, a scene that everyone would never forget occurred. Lin Xiyen opened his arms and faced the world-destroying pillar of light. The golden-purple lightning completely engulfed him, but the expected annihilation didn't happen. On the contrary, the pillar of light began to shrink. No, not shrink, but be absorbed. Lin Xiyen's body was like a bottomless abyss, frantically devouring the lightning pillar. His aura began to soar, nascent soul mid-stage, nascent soul late-stage, nascent soul perfection. And then, without any obstruction, it broke through the shackles and entered God transformation. God transformation initial stage, mid-stage, late stage. Finally, when the last trace of lightning was completely absorbed, Lin Xiyen exuded a terrifying pressure belonging to a god transformation grand perfection cultivator. The strength of that pressure even made Lin Xiyen, a Holy Land prodigy, feel suffocated. In the sky, the thunderclouds dispersed. Lin Xiyen slowly landed, golden-purple lightning flowing around his body endlessly. His blue robes had long since turned to ashes in the lightning, and now a battle robe woven from pure lightning condensed on his body. Lightning patterns covered the robe, like the descent of an ancient thunder god. And Qinyu, he collapsed to the ground. The purple lightning blade had long turned into scrap metal. The backlash from the lightning-drawing curse, coupled with the impact of the sea of lightning just now, had completely destroyed his meridians and dantian. The golden core was shattered, and his cultivation was completely crippled. But strangely, he was still alive. Lin Xiyen had spared his life. Why didn't you kill me? Qinyu wheezed, his eyes completely lifeless. Kill you? Lin Xiyen shook his head. That will be too easy for you. I want you to go back alive. Tell the entire Azure Cloud Sect that the useless senior brother in their eyes has returned. He turned and looked at the remaining 4 people. Lin Xiyen, Lei Wuchen, and the elite disciples of the other 2 sects all had solemn expressions and were full of vigilance and shock. Fellow Taoist Lin Xiyen took a deep breath, suppressing the storm in her heart. Regarding what happened just now, we can make a heart demon oath to never spread it. She was showing goodwill. A monster who could devour heavenly tribulation lightning with his body and instantly break through from the early nascent soul stage to the god transformation grand perfection was not someone she could contend against. Moreover, she vaguely felt that the lightning aura on Lin Xiyen's body was of the same origin as the lightning Holy Land's inheritance, even more ancient and pure. Lin Xiyen glanced at her, his eyes as deep as the starry sky. No need, he said indifferently. Now that I've shown my strength, I don't intend to hide it anymore. But Lei Wuchen couldn't help but speak. The Azure Cloud Sect over there. Azure Cloud Sect? Lin Xiyen laughed, his smile filled with cold mockery. From a moment Master sent me into the secret realm, my fate with the Azure Cloud Sect has already been severed. He looked up at the towering lightning holy hall at the end of the stairs, golden-purple lightning flowing in his eyes. Fellow Taoist Lin Xiyen, Lin Xiyen suddenly said, the lightning Holy Land's 9 heavens lightning incantation, was it copied from an ancient lightning steel? Lei Qingshuan's whole body shook. How do you know? This was one of the Holy Land's top secrets. Besides the core disciples and elders, outsiders could never know. Because that lightning steel was left behind by my grandmaster. Lin Xiyen calmly said a shocking secret. To be precise, the lightning Holy Land's founder, Lei Tianzi, was just a nominal disciple under my grandmaster in the past. The 9 heavens lightning incantation you cultivate is just a fragmented piece of the master's inheritance. What? Lei Wuchen's face changed drastically. You're talking nonsense. But Lei Xiyen was silent. She remembered a vague record in the Holy Land's secret texts. Ancestor Lei Tianzi obtained the remnant steel of the Lightning Emperor, comprehended the Tao for 300 years, and founded the Holy Land. Lightning Emperor. These 2 words had always been a taboo term in the Holy Land's inheritance. Believe it or not, it's up to you. Lin Xiyen didn't say anything more, turned and stepped onto the steps leading to the Holy Hall. I'm going to retrieve what belongs to me. If you all still want to compete for the inheritance, you can follow. But this time I won't hold back. After he finished speaking, he took a step, his figure turning into a golden-purple lightning bolt, instantly passing over thousands of steps, reaching the gate of the Holy Hall. Lei Qingshuan looked at that figure from behind, biting her lip. Follow him. Senior sister, what he said just now. Regardless of whether it's true or false, we must enter this lightning holy hall. A look of determination flashed in Lei Qingshuan's eyes. The rise and fall of the Holy Land may be today. The 5 people, Qian was crippled, leaving 4 people, climbed up the stairs with different thoughts. Only this time, everyone's mentality was different. At the end of the stairs, Lin Xiyen stood in front of the gate of the Holy Hall. The door was 100 zhang tall, cast entirely of purple gold, and 9 coiled electric dragons were carved on it. The eyes of each electric dragon were alive, sparkling with wisdom. "Who comes here?" The 9 electric dragons spoke in unison, their voices rolling like thunder. Lin Xiyen didn't answer, only slowly releasing the aura of the 9 heavens, lightning god nascent soul. At the center of his brow, a lightning mark appeared, emitting an ancient and majestic wave. The eyes of the 9 electric dragons suddenly lit up. "Lightning god mark. It's the successor. 3,000 years. We've finally waited for the successor to return. The Holy Hall should open. The inheritance should continue." The electric dragons roared excitedly, and the huge hall door began to slowly open inward. From the crack in the door, endless lightning surged out, illuminating the entire sky into golden purple. Lin Xiyen strode in. Behind him lay Lin Xiyen, and the others, who had just arrived in front of the palace, only managed to see the figure disappearing in the lightning, and the solemn announcement, seemingly from ancient times, echoing from within. "The 9th palace of the Thunder Emperor's inheritance respectfully welcomes the return of the Divine Firmament Thunder Sovereign." Divine Firmament Thunder Sovereign. These 4 words struck everyone's hearts like a heavy hammer. Lin Xiyen suddenly remembered the first sentence of the most ancient scripture in the Holy Land. Under the Thunder Emperor are the 9 Firmament Thunder Sovereigns, who govern all thunder and administer punishment on behalf of heaven. So that wasn't just a legend. So, Lin Xiyen, the ways that everyone in the Azure Cloud sect considered him to be, his true identity is a successor of the Thunder Emperor. She looked at the slowly closing gate of the Holy Palace, and suddenly felt that this trip to the secret realm might change the entire cultivation world. And all of this was just the beginning. Inside the Holy Palace was another world. The moment Lin Xiyen stepped through the door, he felt as if he had traveled through time. Before him was not a palace hall, but a boundless sea of thunder. Purple, golden, and silver lightning intertwined in the void, transforming into dragons, phoenixes, qilin, and even various indescribable divine beast forms, swimming and playing in the sea of thunder. In the center of the sea of thunder, a 9-layered altar floated. The altar was entirely made of chaos thunder crystal, a material that only existed in legends. Each piece was enough to drive a deity transformation cultivator mad. And here, there was an entire altar. At the top of the altar, a scroll of purple gold jade slips floated. The general outline of the 9 Firmament Divine Thunder Manual. An ancient voice sounded in Lin Xiyen's sea of consciousness. It was Lei Yuan, the complete inheritance left by the Master. The first 3 levels can be cultivated to deity transformation. The middle 3 levels correspond to void refinement and body integration. The last 3 levels can glimpse the secrets of tribulation transcendence. Lin Xiyen stepped onto the first level of the altar. In an instant, countless thunder runes poured out from the jade slips, rushing into his sea of consciousness like a flood. Each of these runes contained the true meaning of the great Tao of thunder. Ordinary cultivators would spend decades to comprehend just one. But at this moment, thousands upon thousands of runes were being imprinted into his soul in the most violent way. For anyone else, such a crude method of inheritance would be enough to collapse their sea of consciousness. But Lin Xiyen's 9 Firmament Thunder God infant emitted a joyful hum, proactively welcoming those runes, devouring, refining, and absorbing them one by one. The lightning mark between his eyebrows grew brighter and brighter, eventually transforming into a substantial divine thunder rune. First level, refinement complete. Second level, third level. When Lin Xiyen stepped onto the 9th level of the altar, the sea of thunder in the entire holy palace began to boil. All the lightning, thunder beasts, and anomalies converged towards him, merging into his body. His aura soared again. The bottleneck of the deity, transformation, great perfection, shattered like paper, stepping into void refinement stage. Void refinement early stage, middle stage, late stage. Finally, his aura stabilized at void refinement great perfection. Just one step away, he could step into body integration, becoming a true apex existence on this continent. But that wasn't all. Lin Xiyen opened his eyes, in which there were no longer pupils, but two swirling universes of thunder that were constantly being created and destroyed. He raised his hand, and a purple-gold thunder seal floated in his palm. Personally bestowed by the Thunder Emperor, the nine-firmament thunder sovereign token. Lei Yuan's voice was filled with satisfaction. From this day forward, you are the walker of the great Tao of thunder in this life, qualified to administer punishment on behalf of heaven, and wield all thunder. Lin Xiyen put away the thunder seal, feeling the power within his body as vast as a sea of stars. 15 years of forbearance had finally, at this moment, been rewarded as they should be. It's time to go out, he said softly. The people outside have been waiting long enough. Outside the holy palace, the atmosphere was heavy as iron. Lei Xiyen and the other four stood in front of the closed gate, having waited for 3 whole days. During this time, thunder rumbled from inside the holy palace from time to time, and sometimes the entire palace shook, as if some terrifying existence was awakening. Senior sister, are we still waiting? Lei Wuqian's face was gloomy. Lin Xiyen has been inside for 3 days and hasn't come out. I'm afraid he's already receiving the inheritance. Wait. Lei Xiyen only uttered one word. She sat cross-legged, with an ancient bronze mirror floating in front of her. Reflected in the mirror was not her reflection, but the gate of the holy palace. She was using a secret technique of the Holy Land to analyze the restrictions on the palace gate, trying to find a way to enter. The disciples of the other 2 sects had already given up and were meditating in the distance, obviously not planning to get involved in this muddy water again. On the morning of the 4th day, a sudden change occurred. Dozens of powerful auras suddenly appeared on the periphery of Burial Thunder Mountain. Those auras were undisguised, domineeringly crushing over, and even the thunder in the air avoided them wherever they passed. Someone's coming. Lei Wuqian stood up abruptly. A moment later, a dozen figures broke through the air and landed on the platform in front of the Holy Palace. Leading them were 3 old men with towering auras, each of them in the late stage of deity transformation, and one of them even had the pressure of the void refinement stage. The thunderclap Holy Land, the 3 law enforcement elders. Lei Qingshuan's expression changed drastically. The ones who came were indeed the 3 law enforcement elders of the thunderclap Holy Land, Lei Xing, Lei Fa, and Lei Yu. Behind them were 10 elite disciples of the Holy Land, with the lowest cultivation base being the great perfection of the Golden Core stage. Xian Wuqian, what are you doing here? Elder Lei Xing's eyes were like lightning, sweeping across the scene. Why is the gate of the Holy Palace closed? Lei Xiyen hurriedly stepped forward to salute and briefly explained what had happened in the past few days. When she heard the name Lin Xiyen, a cold light flashed in the eyes of the 3 elders at the same time. That kid from the Azure Cloud sect? Elder Lei Fa sneered. He injured the holy son of my holy land 15 years ago, and today he dares to covet the Thunder Emperor's inheritance? What audacity! Elder Lei Qingshian hesitated. That Lin Xiyen has the aura of the Thunder Emperor's inheritance on him, and it... No need to say more. Elder Lei Yu interrupted her. The Thunder Emperor's inheritance belongs to my holy land. How can we allow outsiders to covet it? When that kid comes out, capture him directly and force him to reveal the inheritance. As he spoke, the pressure of the void refinement stage was released suddenly, making it almost impossible for Lei Qingshian and the others to breathe. Just then, the gate of the Holy Palace opened. A figure slowly walked out of the lightning, still in that cyan robe, still with that thin face, But the feeling Lin Xiyen gave people now was completely different. He stood there as if he was the incarnation of thunder, the spokesperson for heavenly punishment. There were no spiritual energy fluctuations around him, but it made everyone feel a reverence from the depths of their souls. Lin Xiyen, Elder Lin Xiyen shouted sternly, "Hand over the Thunder Emperor's inheritance, and I will spare you from death." Lin Xiyen's gaze swept over everyone, lingered on the three law enforcement elders for a moment, and then landed on Lei Qingshuan's face. "Is this the style of the Thunderclap Holy Land? Seizing by force." Impudent. Elder Lei Fa took a step forward in rage. The pressure of the late stage of deity transformation pressed towards Lin Xiyen like a tsunami. A mere abandoned disciple of the Azure Cloud Sect dares to question the Holy Land. Under the pressure, Lin Xiyen remained motionless. He didn't even look at Elder Lei Fa, but looked towards a certain direction outside Burial Thunder Mountain, and said faintly, "Since you've come, why hide your head and show your tail?" As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his hand and grabbed towards the void. "Ah!" A scream rang out, and a figure was forcibly pulled out of the void. It was a skinny old man, wearing the clothing of an Azure Cloud Sect elder, his face full of horror at this moment. "Elder Mo?" Lei Qingshuan was stunned. The one who came was Mo Wentian, the law enforcement elder of the Azure Cloud Sect. "Lin Xiyen, you..." Mo Wentian was horrified. He had just hidden in the void with a secret technique, and even the three Holy Land elders hadn't noticed him. Yet Lin Xiyen had casually pulled him out. "Did your master send you?" Lin Xiyen asked. Mo Wentian's face changed, and finally he gritted his teeth and said, "The sect leader has ordered that if you obtain the inheritance, you must bring it back to the sect." "Bring it back?" Lin Xiyen smiled. "Bring back the inheritance, or bring back my life?" Mo Wentian was silent. As expected, Master still doesn't trust me. Lin Xiyen sighed softly. "Very well. Elder Mo, you can just watch. Watch how that waste senior brother of the Azure Cloud Sect will flatten the Holy Land today." Arrogant. Elder Lei Fa was furious and slapped out with his palm. This palm was a full-force strike from the late stage of deity transformation, containing 9 thunder chains in the palm wind, each of which was enough to suppress and kill a nascent soul cultivator. The 9 chains came out together, sealing the heavens and the earth, and sealing off all of Lin Xiyen's retreat routes. This was the secret of the Thunderclap Holy Land. The 9 thunder chain heaven-locking palm. Faced with this world-destroying blow, Lin Xiyen just raised his finger. At the fingertip, a point of golden-purple lightning emerged. That lightning was only the size of a grain of rice, but it made all the thunder in the entire world silent. The 9 thunder chains, the moment they touched the lightning, melted silently like ice and snow meeting the scorching sun. Then the lightning flashed lightly. Elder Lei Fa was struck hard, and the whole person flew out, his chest collapsing and his blood spurting wildly. His deity, Transformation Dharma idol, didn't even have time to condense before it was completely shattered by that wisp of lightning. A single strike, severely injuring a late-stage deity transformation cultivator. The entire scene was deathly silent. Elder Lei Xing and Elder Lei Yu's expressions drastically changed. Lei Qingshuan and the others were even more stunned, as if witnessing the most unbelievable thing in the world. "What is your cultivation level?" Elder Lei Xing's voice trembled. Lin Xiyen didn't answer. Instead, he slowly ascended into the air. With every foot he rose, the aura around him intensified. Deity transformation, void refinement, body integration. Finally, a terrifying pressure that changed the color of the sky and caused 10,000 thunders to worship enveloped the entire Burial Thunder Mountain. "Today, I will let you see what the true Great Tao of Thunder is." Lin Xiyen formed hand seals, and the thunder mark on his forehead shone brightly. In an instant, thunder clouds spanning 10,000 miles around Burial Thunder Mountain frantically converged, forming a massive vortex that covered the sky. Within the vortex, 9 colors of lightning simultaneously appeared. Violet firmament divine lightning, capital celestial divine lightning, chaos heavenly lightning, world extinguishing demonic lightning. Each was a heavenly tribulation lightning that only existed in legends. 9 thunder, heavenly tribulation. Elder Lei Yu's face turned pale. This is a divine power only possessed by the direct disciples of the Thunder Emperor. How could you possibly? Because I am a successor of the Thunder Emperor. Lin Xiyen's voice rolled like thunder, reverberating in all directions. The Thunder Holy Land's founder, Lei Tianzi, only heard 3 words of Tao sound under the Thunder Emperor's seat and then proclaimed himself to have inherited the lineage. Today, I will act on behalf of my Grandmaster to clean up the sect. He pointed his finger. 9-colored thunder fell like a reversed heavenly river, crashing down. The target was the entire Thunder Holy Land team. Form the array. Elder Lei Xiyen roared, and the 3 of them joined forces to set up the Holy Land's strongest defense, the 9 Heavens Thunder Barrier. However, in the face of the 9 Thunder Heavenly Tribulation, the Thunder Barrier was as flimsy as paper, shattering instantly. The 3 elders simultaneously spat out blood and flew backward, and 10 disciples were directly blasted by the lightning, severely injured and unconscious. Only Lei Xiyen and Lei Wuchen, because they were standing further away and were not specifically targeted by Lin Xiyen, barely managed to withstand the attack, but their faces were pale and their eyes were filled with fear. Lin Xiyen, how dare you be an enemy of the Holy Land? Elder Lei Xiyen howled. Holy Land. Lin Xiyen looked down from above, his eyes cold. From today onward, the Thunder Holy Land will be removed from the continent. He raised his hand again. This time, the target wasn't just the people in front of him, but the entire mountain gate of the Thunder Holy Land. In the distant Thunder Holy Land, the mountain protection array suddenly activated automatically, and countless disciples looked up in panic. They saw a gigantic thunderous hand covering 10,000 miles appearing in the sky, slowly pressing down. No! The supreme elder stationed in the Holy Land let out a desperate roar. The giant hand fell. The entire Holy Land mountain gate, along with 1,000 miles around it, was wiped out with a single palm. All the buildings were reduced to dust, and the mountain protection array shattered like a bubble. Only the disciples were pushed away by a gentle force, appearing disheveled but unharmed. Lin Xiyen held back. He only destroyed the foundation of the Holy Land, not harming innocent lives. After doing all this, he retracted his hand and looked at the completely stunned crowd below. Go back and tell your Holy Lord, he said to the severely injured Lei Xiyen and the others. Disband the Holy Land within 3 days, and let all the disciples find their own way. If the name of the Thunder Holy Land still exists after 3 days, the next thing to fall will not just be the mountain gate. Elder Lei Xiyen's lips trembled, and finally, he lowered his head in dejection. As your Thunder Majesty commands. Thunder Majesty. This title explained everything. Lin Xiyen stopped looking at them and turned to look in a certain direction in the void. There, a huge water mirror was slowly dissipating. It was the scene that true person Yun Qing and the others in the Azure Cloud Sect's main hall were watching through a secret technique. Master, Lin Xiyen said softly towards the last direction of the water mirror. Did you see it? The disciple you risked your life to protect all those years ago has never let you down. It's just that the Azure Cloud Sect. I can't go back. As his voice fell, he transformed into a bolt of lightning, soaring into the sky and disappearing into the horizon, leaving behind only a scene of devastation and a group of onlookers who seemed to be in a dream. Lei Xiyen gazed in the direction where Lin Xiyen disappeared for a long time before murmuring, "The continent is about to change." Behind her, Mo Wentian collapsed to the ground, his eyes filled with regret and bewilderment. And in the more distant Azure Cloud Sect's main hall, the water mirror completely shattered. True person Yun Qing stood in front of the broken mirror, motionless like a statue. Inside the hall, all the elders and disciples were silent. They had just witnessed everything. Lin Xiyen, whom they regarded as a waste, had wiped out the Thunder Holy Land with one palm and ordered the Holy Land to disband with a single word. So, for the past 15 years, what a terrible existence had they been mocking? Sect leader, an elder said in a hoarse voice. True person Lin Xiyen slowly turned around, and the others saw 2 lines of clear tears streaming down his face. Our azure cloud Sect missed, a prodigy capable of making the Sect prosper for 10,000 years. Outside the hall, the autumn wind was bleak, rolling up fallen leaves all over the ground, as if seeing off a departing figure. And in various parts of the continent, countless Sect's water mirrors simultaneously displayed the scene of the battle at Burial Thunder Mountain. Lin Xiyen's name, after 15 years of silence, once again spread throughout the world in a more dazzling and shocking manner. This time, no one dared to call him a waste again. This time, he was the true Thunderlord. Azure Cloud Sect, Sunrise Peak. When Lin Xiyen returned in the morning dew, the entire mountain was eerily quiet. There were no disciples practicing swordsmanship on the mountain path, no laborers tending to the spiritual plants in the medicine garden, and even the usually chirping spirit birds were silent. He slowly walked towards a small courtyard. The small courtyard that hadn't changed in 15 years was still simple, but the old peach tree was much thicker than he remembered. At the moment, it was full of blossoms, and pink petals were fluttering in the morning breeze like a late farewell. Pushing open the courtyard gate, Lin Xiyen was slightly stunned. Someone was sitting by the stone table. True person Lin Xiyen was sitting with his back to him, his white hair particularly dazzling in the morning light. A tea set was placed in front of him, the water was boiling, and the aroma of tea wafted through the air. It was Lin Xiyen's favorite Snow Peak Embracing Green, which he often drank 15 years ago, but later his cultivation stagnated, his resources were limited, and he couldn't afford it anymore. You're back. True person Lin Xiyen's voice was very soft. Without turning his head, Lin Xiyen walked into the courtyard and sat down opposite his master. The master and disciple looked at each other across the stone table. In 15 years, this was the first time they had looked at each other so calmly, with no one else present, no sect affairs, and no unspoken barriers. True person Lin Xiyen picked up the teapot and filled 2 cups. The tea was emerald green, and the steam rose, reflecting the complex emotions in his eyes. Try this year's new tea. He pushed a cup in front of Lin Xiyen. Lin Xiyen picked up the teacup but didn't drink it. He just looked at his reflection in the cup. What does Master mean by this? True person Lin Xiyen was silent for a long time before finally opening his mouth. 15 years ago, when you risked your life for me and for the Sect, I vowed to myself, no matter the cost, I would heal your injuries and let you return to your peak. For the first 3 years, I traveled all over the continent, visited famous doctors, and begged for spiritual medicines. Every time I went with hope, and every time I returned with disappointment. But I didn't give up. I thought, there will always be a way. In the 4th year, junior brother Zhao Heng successfully formed his core, and the entire sect celebrated. That night, the great elder came to me. True person Lin Xiyen's voice lowered. He said, Lin Xiyen's injuries probably can't be healed, and the sect can't pour resources into a useless person forever. I said, he is not a useless person. He is a meritorious subject of the Azure Cloud Sect. The great elder said, meritorious subjects also need to have value. A meritorious subject who is forever stuck in the early stage of the nascent soul realm is not an honor for the increasingly strong Azure Cloud Sect, but a burden. In the 7th year, junior sister Su Wan's golden core was complete, and she was hailed as a genius of the century. At that time, the sect was competing with several second-rate sects for the mining rights of a spiritual mine, and someone needed to hold the fort. The Elder Council proposed that Su Wan temporarily take the position of senior sister and attend the sect's grand ceremony. I refused. True person Lin Xiyen raised his head, his eyes filled with bloodshot veins. I said, as long as Lin Xiyen is alive for one day, he is the senior brother of the Azure Cloud Sect. Anyone who doesn't agree can leave the sect. After that day, the Elder Council's support for me began to waver. They said I was biased, that I was disregarding the overall situation of the sect for a useless person. The tea water was slightly cold, but true person Lin Xiyen didn't drink it. He just held the teacup as if holding something heavy. In the 10th year, you have been injured for 10 full years. In the sect competition, the Azure Cloud sect only got 7th place. True person Lin Xiyen's voice began to become astringent. After the competition, 7 elders jointly submitted a letter demanding that your position as senior brother be abolished and that Xiyen Yu be appointed instead. The reason was that Xiyen Yu was born with a thunder spirit root, and at 28 years old, he was already in the late stage of the Golden Core realm with limitless prospects. As for you, your cultivation had stagnated, making you unable to shoulder great responsibilities. I refused again, but this time, only 3 elders supported me. True person Lin Xiyen finally took a sip of the tea. The tea was cold, so bitter that it made him frown. In the 13th year, there was a struggle for the secret realm trial slots. Xiyen Yu, Su Wan, and Zhao Heng should all go, but the Elder Council wanted to leave the 4th slot for junior brother. I said it should be given to Lin Xiyen. The great elder publicly questioned, "Give a dying man a chance to die." I said, the Thunder Abyss secret realm might have an opportunity to resolve thunder injuries. What if there isn't one? What if he dies in the secret realm? He said. Venerable Lin Xiyen put down his teacup, the teacup making a crisp sound as it struck the stone table. I didn't answer, because I knew he was telling the truth. In your state at the time, entering the Thunder Abyss secret realm meant a 9 out of 10 chance of death. So you chose the 4th path. Lin Xiyen finally spoke, his voice calm, both sending me to the secret realm, gambling on that slim chance of survival, and giving Xiyen Yu the Violet Thunderblade, so if I was lucky enough not to die, he could take my life. In this way, you could both preserve the master-disciple relationship and fulfill the sect's wishes. Venerable Lin Xiyen shuddered. That Violet Thunderblade wasn't meant to be for Xiyen Yu's self-defense, was it? Lin Xiyen looked at his master. The thunder-inducing spell in the blade wasn't a mistake either, but personally inscribed by you. You calculated that Xiyen Yu would be jealous of me, would scheme against me, and also calculated that I would be defenseless against him. So when he accidentally triggered the heavenly lightning to kill me, everyone would only think that the junior brother was narrow-minded and harmed his fellow disciple, and you would at most be blamed for misjudging someone, eliminating me, the burden, and also eradicating Xiyen Yu, the potential threat. After all, who would dare to promote a disciple who dares to kill his senior brother? Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, a good calculation. With each sentence Lin Xiyen spoke, Venerable Lin Xiyen's face paled a little more. When the last sentence was finished, the Xiyen Yu sect leader seemed to have aged 100 years in an instant, his back hunched over, and the last glimmer of light in his eyes extinguished. "You know everything," he said with difficulty. I knew it from the first glance at the Violet Thunderblade. Lin Xiyen picked up the teacup, and this time he took a sip. Master's technique is still the same as when he taught me weapon forging, liking to hide a return stroke on the 3rd stroke of the rune. Venerable Lin Xiyen closed his eyes, and 2 streams of turbid tears slid down his cheeks. "Xiener, Master is sorry to you." He had held these words in for 15 years. Lin Xiyen put down his teacup, stood up, and walked under the peach tree. He reached out and caught a falling petal, watching it turn into specks of spiritual light in his palm. "Master, do you know what was the most painful thing for me in these 15 years? Venerable Lin Xiyen shook his head. Not the pain of thunder devouring the heart, not the suffering of stagnant cultivation, nor the cold gazes of junior brothers and sisters. Lin Xiyen turned around, the first time revealing real emotion in his eyes. It was watching you, from the master who would venture into demon beast nests for my sake, to the sect leader who remained silent in the main hall. Every time you wanted to say something but stopped, every time your eyes dodged, I knew. You were struggling, you were feeling guilty, you were giving up on me bit by bit. That feeling is 1,000 times more painful than thunder injuring the nascent soul. Venerable Lin Xiyen covered his face, his shoulders trembling violently. After a long time, he lowered his hand, his face covered in tears. This teacher is not worthy of being your teacher. No, you are worthy. Lin Xiyen walked back to the stone table and sat down again. At least for the first 3 years, you were worthy. In later years, you were just doing what a sect leader should do, choosing the former between the interests of the sect and the master-disciple relationship. This is your choice. I have no right to blame you. But I also have my choice. Lin Xiyen stretched out his hand, and the purple-gold, 9 Heavens Thunder Sovereign token appeared in his palm. The moment the token appeared, the spiritual energy of the entire Chuyang Peak trembled, and thunder clouds gathered in the sky, only to be dispelled by an invisible force. From today onwards, I, Lin Xiyen, formally withdraw from the Qingyan sect. The words were light, but they exploded in Venerable Lin Xiyen's ears like thunder. Xiyen, Master doesn't need to persuade me anymore. Lin Xiyen put away the token. 15 years ago, I fought for the sect. That was my choice. 15 years later, I live for myself. That is also my choice. But, he paused, the Qingyan sect is, after all, the place where I grew up. I will not forget the grace of nurturing me for 15 years. He raised his hand and pointed a finger towards the direction of the mountain protecting array. In an instant, all 12 peaks of the entire Qingyan sect shook simultaneously. At the base of the mountain protecting array, 9 golden-purple rays of thunder shot into the sky, intertwining in the air to form a lightning network covering the entire sect. That network was 100 times more refined than the original mountain protecting array, and 10 times more powerful. Disciples everywhere in the sect exclaimed and looked up, elders horrified and came out of seclusion. This is... The great elder stood on the peak of the main peak, feeling the vast power of the new formation, his lips trembling. The 9 Heavens Thundergang Array? The mountain protecting array personally created by the legendary Thunder Emperor. From now on, the Qingyan sect's mountain protecting array will be personally blessed by me. Lin Xiyen's voice was not loud, but it clearly spread to every corner of the sect. This array can withstand 3 full attacks from the Void Refinement stage. As long as the array is not broken, the Qingyan sect will never face the danger of annihilation. This can be considered my last repayment to the sect. After doing all this, Lin Xiyen looked at Venerable Lin Xiyen. As for you, Master, he still called a master. You made a difficult choice for 15 years now. It's my turn. I don't hate you, but I won't forgive you either. From now on, our master-disciple relationship is over. Next time we meet, you are the Qingyan sect leader, and I am the Thunder Emperor's heir. That's all. After Lin Xiyen finished speaking, he turned and walked out of the courtyard. Xiyen, Venerable Lin Xiyen suddenly stood up, his voice hoarse. Where are you going? Lin Xiyen stopped at the gate of the courtyard, not turning his head. The world is so big, where can I go? But if you're asking about my destination, he paused, I will rebuild the Thunder Emperor Palace on Burial Thunder Mountain. That is the legacy left by the Ancestor Master, and as his heir, I have the responsibility to carry it forward. If there are Qingyan sect disciples who aspire to the Thunder Tao, they can come to the Thunder Emperor Palace to study. I will treat everyone equally and impart everything I know. After saying these words, Lin Xiyen stepped out. He walked very slowly, step by step down the mountain path of Chuyang Peak. Along the way, countless disciples poured out from all directions, silently standing by the roadside, bowing their heads in salute. This time, there was no whispering, no cold stares. In everyone's eyes, there was only awe, only shame, only deep regret. When Lin Xiyen reached the mountain gate, all the elders and all the true disciples had gathered there. Hundreds of people stood solemnly in the morning light. The great elder took the lead and stepped forward, bowing deeply, respectfully sending off. Senior Lin. This senior meant recognition. From now on, Lin Xiyen's cultivation and status had far surpassed everyone in the Qingyan sect. Then came the second elder, the third elder. Everyone who had questioned Lin Xiyen and ridiculed Lin Xiyen was bowing in salute at this moment, not daring to look up. Zhao Heng and Su Wan stood in the crowd, their faces as pale as paper. They wanted to say something, their lips moved, but they couldn't say a word. Lin Xiyen's gaze swept across everyone, finally landing outside the mountain gate. There, a thin figure was kneeling in the dust. It was Qinyu. His cultivation had been abolished, his meridians destroyed, and at this moment he didn't even have the strength to stand up. He could only kneel there, like a homeless dog. Lin Xiyen walked up to him. Qinyu trembled all over, his forehead touching the ground. "Senior brother." "No, Senior Lin. I won't kill you, not out of mercy," Lin Xiyen said calmly, "but to let you live and see with your own eyes how high the person you once envied and framed has ultimately reached. This will be your punishment for the rest of your life." After speaking, Lin Xiyen didn't look at him anymore and stepped out of the mountain gate. The moment he stepped out of the mountain gate, the mountain protecting array automatically opened a gap and then slowly closed behind him. Outside the mountain gate, the morning light was boundless. Lin Xiyen looked up at the sky and took a deep breath. 15 years of shackles had finally been removed today. From now on, the sky was vast and the sea was wide, and no one could bind him in the slightest. He turned into a ray of thunder and soared into the sky, disappearing into the clouds. Inside the mountain gate, the Qingyan sect people stood still for a long time. Venerable Yun Qing stood at the highest point of the mountain gate, looking in the direction where Lin Xiyen had disappeared, motionless, as if he would stand there until the end of time. After an unknown amount of time, he slowly turned around, facing all the elders and disciples, his voice hoarse but firm. "From today onwards, the Qingyan sect will establish a sect iron rule. All disciples of our sect must never be enemies with the Thunder Emperor Palace for life. All disciples of our sect must treat Lin Xiyen as if they were seeing the sect leader. All disciples of our sect, if they are fortunate enough to receive guidance from the Thunder Emperor Palace, they must observe the disciples' etiquette and not be negligent." After saying these 3 rules, Venerable Yun Qing seemed to have used all his strength, staggered a step, and was supported by the Great Elder. He pushed aside the Great Elder's hand and walked towards the main peak hall alone. His silhouette was desolate, his hair white as snow. The mountain wind swept past, swirling fallen flowers across the ground, also taking away that once most brilliant genius who belonged to the Qingyan sect. And throughout the continent, countless communication talismans were flying in all directions, spreading the same news throughout the world. The successor of the Thunder Emperor has appeared, and the Thunder Emperor's palace has reopened. 10 years. For mortals, 10 years is enough for a child to grow into a teenager, enough for dark hair to become frosted. For the cultivation world, 10 years is but a fleeting moment, a single secluded cultivation, a single moment of enlightenment. But for the entire continent, these 10 years have been earth-shattering. Burial Thunder Mountain, once a desolate place ravaged by thunder, was now a holy land in the hearts of cultivators throughout the world. 9 purple gold palaces floated atop the 9 peaks, connected by bridges of lightning. Each palace towered into the clouds, with wind chimes made of condensed lightning hanging from the eaves. When the wind blew, it was not the crisp sound of bells, but a deep rumble of thunder. Between the palaces, thousands of electric dragons coiled and roamed, yet they were as docile as livestock. Occasionally, cultivators would ride dragons, attracting countless admiring glances from below. This was the Thunder Emperor's palace. 10 years ago, Lin Xiyen flattened the mountain gate of Thunder's sacred ground with a single palm. 3 days later, the sacred ground announced its dissolution. 7 days later, the Thunder Emperor's palace was established on Burial Thunder Mountain. Within a month, all lightning attribute cultivators on the continent flocked to the area, requesting to join the palace. Now, the Thunder Emperor's palace had 3,000 disciples, 36 protectors, and 9 elders, each of whom was a thunder cultivator at the transformation divinity stage who had once been famous throughout the land. And their palace lord had not emerged from seclusion for 10 years. Deep within the Thunder Emperor's palace, the Ninth Hall, this was a world entirely composed of thunder. The ground was flowing lava of lightning. The sky was a crisscross of electric light, and every particle of dust in the air contained the pure Tao of thunder. Lin Xiyen sat cross-legged in the center of the sea of thunder. There were no aura fluctuations around him. He seemed to have merged with this world of thunder. The lightning mark on his brow had transformed from purple gold to chaos-colored, and within it were faint images of stars being born and dying, of the universe beginning. After 10 years of seclusion, he had entered the integration stage, and it was the great perfection of integration, only a step away from tribulation. "It's almost time." Lin Xiyen opened his eyes. As he opened his eyes, the entire sea of thunder instantly stilled, then surged into his body like a tide. The world of thunder disappeared, revealing the true appearance of the ancient hall. The palace lord has emerged from seclusion. The news spread through the 9 halls like a thunderclap. When Lin Xiyen walked out of his secluded cultivation chamber, the area outside the hall was already filled with kneeling people. The 9 elders leading them were all transformation divinity stage cultivators who had come to join him after the dissolution of the Thunder Sacred Ground. Under Lin Xiyen's guidance, half of them had already glimpsed the path to refining void. Welcome the palace lord's emergence from seclusion. The 3,000 disciples shouted in unison, their voices echoing between the 9 peaks, scattering the clouds in the sky. Lin Xiyen's gaze swept over the crowd, and he nodded slightly. "These 10 years have been hard on all of you. Serving the palace lord is our honor." Great Elder Lei Hao said excitedly, "Palace lord, during your 10 years of seclusion, the structure of the continent has changed. Now, our Thunder Emperor's palace." "Not in a hurry." Lin Xiyen raised his hand to interrupt. "I'll go see a few people first." He took a step and disappeared from the spot. Qingyan Sect, Sunrise Peak. That small courtyard still looked as it did 10 years ago, spotless. The peach tree in the courtyard was carefully cared for, and the blossoms were more vibrant than ever. Real person Yun Qing sat by the stone table, the teacup in front of him already cold. 10 years. He would come here to sit for a while every day, brew a pot of Snow Peak Emerald, pour 2 cups of tea, and then look at the empty seat opposite him until the tea was cold and the sun set in the west. He had gradually handed over the affairs of the sect to the great elder. Since Lin Xiyen left, this sect master of Qingyan seemed to have had his soul taken away, his cultivation stagnating in the middle stage of transformation divinity, making no further progress. "Qingyan Sect, Sect Master." A voice sounded behind him. Real person Yun Qing's body trembled, and the teacup in his hand fell to the ground with a clang, shattering into pieces. He slowly turned around and saw the blue-robed figure standing under the peach tree. 10 years had passed, but Lin Xiyen's appearance had not changed at all. His temperament, however, had become even more unfathomable. He stood there, not exuding any pressure, yet Yun Qing felt a reverence from the depths of his soul. "Xiyen, Palace Lord Lin." Real person Yun Qing stood up, his voice hoarse. Lin Xiyen walked to the stone table, looked at the 2 cold cups of tea, and remained silent for a moment before waving his hand. The tea water reboiled, and the tea fragrance filled the air again. "Sit down, master." This one word, master, instantly reddened real person Yun Qing's eyes. He sat down tremblingly, watching Lin Xiyen pour tea for him, his movements skilled and natural, as if time had flowed back 20 years ago, when that young genius would brew a pot of tea for his master every morning and then ask for guidance on cultivation problems. "You've aged," Lin Xiyen said. Real person Yun Qing smiled bitterly. "This master, my heart is dead, so my body naturally decays." "The heart can die, but the Tao cannot stop." Lin Xiyen pushed the teacup over. "How long have you been stuck in the middle stage of transformation divinity?" 8 years. Lin Xiyen looked towards the direction of the mountain gate. "Where is Qingyu?" Real person Lin Xiyen's face darkened. The back mountain, Repentance Cliff. After you left, his cultivation was completely destroyed, his meridians broken. I placed him there and sent people to take care of his daily life. Take me to see him. Repentance Cliff, Stone Chamber. The place where Lin Xiyen was imprisoned back then. Now lived another person. Qin Yu lay on the stone bed, his face ashen and withered, his eyes dull. 10 years, for a cripple, every moment was torment. He could hear the movement down the mountain. The Qingyan sect was growing stronger day by day, and the disciples were talking about the changes on the continent, talking about that rising Thunder Emperor's palace, talking about that senior brother they had once despised. Every time he heard the name, Lin Xiyen, his heart felt like it was being pricked with needles. 10 years, and he hasn't come to see me once. Qin Yu murmured to himself, his voice hoarse. It's for the best. It's better to let me die than to let him see me like this. The stone door was pushed open. Sunlight poured in, stinging Qin Yu's eyes. He squinted and saw 2 figures standing in the backlight. Senior brother? Qin Yu trembled, struggling to get up, but he didn't even have the strength to move a finger. Lin Xiyen walked to the stone bed and looked down at this once high-spirited junior brother. After 10 years of torment, Qin Yu looked like a skeleton. Only his eyes still retained a trace of spirit. It was deep regret and despair. Do you still hate me? Lin Xiyen asked. Qin Yu was stunned for a moment, then suddenly laughed, his laughter shrill like a ghost crying. Hate? What right do I have to hate? It was me who was jealous of you. It was me who framed you. It was me who deserved this fate. He coughed violently, coughing up blood. These 10 years, I've been thinking every day. If I hadn't listened to Master's hint back then, if I hadn't tampered with the violet lightning blade, if I had spoken for you in the main hall, what would it be like now? Unfortunately, there are no ifs, Lin Xiyen said calmly. Yes, no ifs. Qin Yu closed his eyes, and 2 lines of muddy tears fell. Senior brother, kill me. Give me a quick death. Lin Xiyen was silent for a long time, then reached out a finger and pointed it at Qin Yu's brow. A strand of chaos-colored lightning light entered Qin Yu's body. In an instant, Qin Yu felt a warm power flowing through his limbs. The broken meridians began to rebuild, and the withered dantian recondensed. Although his cultivation could not be restored, this power saved his life, allowing him to live like an ordinary person. I won't kill you. Lin Xiyen withdrew his finger. From today onwards, you move to the outer sect and become a handyman disciple. Chop wood, carry water, sweep the floor, cook, and use the rest of your life to atone for your sins. Qin Yu was stunned, then burst into tears, struggling to fall off the stone bed, his forehead touching the ground. Thank you, senior brother, for not killing me. I am not your senior brother. Lin Xiyen turned and left. I am the palace lord of the Thunder Emperor's palace. You are a handyman of the Qingyan sect. That's all. Walking out of the stone chamber, Lin Xiyen said to real person Yun Qing, arrange for him a quiet outer sect courtyard and send a disciple to take care of his daily life. No special treatment is necessary, but don't let anyone bully him either. The mistakes he made have already been atoned for with 10 years of living hell. Real person Yun Qing nodded heavily. Okay. Thunder Emperor's palace. Main hall. Lin Xiyen sat on the palace lord's throne, with the 9 elders and 36 protectors standing below. Palace lord, 3 major events have occurred on the continent in these 10 years. Grand Elder Lei Hao presented a jade scroll. Firstly, 70% of the original Thunder Sacred Grounds disciples have joined our palace, while the remaining 30% are scattered throughout the land, forming 3 small Thunder cultivator sects, all of whom respect our palace. Secondly, Qingyun's sect, under the protection of the mountain protecting array left behind by the palace lord, has already risen to become a first-rate sect. Although true person Yunqing's cultivation has stagnated, his governance is effective, and the sect is developing rapidly. Thirdly, Lei Hao paused. 3 months ago, the Heavenly Secrets Pavilion divined the secrets of the heavens and predicted that within 100 years, an ancient ruins will reappear in the world. It is said that it is a chance even more ancient than the Thunder Emperor's inheritance. Lin Xiyen received the Jade Scroll. His divine sense swept through it, and all the information was clear in his mind. Ancient ruins. In his memory, the secrets recorded in the last layer of the Nine Heavens' divine thunder art surfaced. The Thunder Emperor was not a native cultivator of this world, but came from an older and more powerful world. The ruins of that world could indeed appear in this realm. I understand. Lin Xiyen put away the Jade Scroll. Issue the order that the Thunder Emperor Palace will open the 9 Thunder Trials starting today. All cultivators on the continent, regardless of sect or cultivation level, can participate. Those who pass 9 levels can enter our palace's outer sect. Those who pass 12 levels can enter the inner sect. Those who pass 18 levels, he paused, can receive 3 days of personal guidance from me. The hall erupted in an uproar. The 9 Thunder Trials were the highest level assessment of the Thunder Emperor Palace, and had not been opened for 10 years. Now, not only was the Palace Lord opening it, but he was also giving such amazing rewards. Palace Lord, is this? Second Elder hesitated. Is it too generous? Lin Xiyen smiled slightly. What I want is not the strength of one palace, but the strength of the entire cultivation world. The great path of thunder should not be confined to the Thunder Emperor Palace, but should be spread throughout the world. He stood up, walked out of the hall, and looked down at the 9 peaks shrouded in clouds below, and the vast continent even further away. 10 years have passed. It's time to let the world see the true meaning of the Thunder Emperor's inheritance. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his hand and pointed to the sky. 9 chaos thunderbolts shot into the sky, exploding in the 10,000-foot high altitude, turning into a sky full of thunderous light characters, each character containing the true meaning of thunder. Those characters formed the opening chapter of a cultivation method, the first layer of the 9 Heavens' divine thunder art, the foundation establishment chapter. From today onwards, this chapter of the cultivation method will be spread throughout the continent, and anyone can practice it. The voice was not loud, but it was transmitted to every corner of the continent through the power of thunder. The world shook. Countless cultivators looked up at the sky, watching the slowly dissipating thunderous light characters, some shocked, some ecstatic, some with tears in their eyes. The great path of thunder was no longer a secret of one family, and the name of Lin Xiyen, the Palace Lord of the Thunder Emperor Palace, truly became a legend at this moment. Night fell. Lin Xiyen stood alone at the highest point of the 9th palace, gazing at the starry sky. Another 10 years had passed, and he had finally completed his farewell to the past. The grudges of the Qingyun sect, the karma of the Thunder's sacred ground, had all faded away in the river of time. Now, he had to look further ahead. Ancient ruins, he whispered to himself. Thunder Emperor, is that where you came from? The chaos thunder mark between his eyebrows glowed faintly, as if responding to his question. Lin Xiyen closed his eyes, feeling the vast power within his body like a sea of stars. The great perfection of the fusion realm was already the peak in this world. But the 9 Heavens' divine thunder art had 3 more layers. Those were the cultivation methods for the tribulation transcending stage, corresponding to the realm after ascension. The road is still very long. He opened his eyes, and his eyes reflected the starry sky, and also reflected the endless future. Yun Qing Jinren shuddered. The teacup in his hand clanged to the ground and shattered. He slowly turned around, seeing the green-robed figure standing under the peach tree. 10 years had passed, but Lin Xiyen's appearance hadn't changed at all, though his aura had become even more unfathomable. He stood there, without emitting any pressure, yet Yun Qing Jinren felt a reverence from the depths of his soul. Xiyen, Palace Master Lin. Yun Qing Jinren stood up, his voice strained. Lin Xiyen walked to the stone table, looked at the 2 cups of cold tea, and was silent for a moment before waving his hand. The tea water boiled again, and the tea fragrance filled the air once more. Sit Shifu. This one Shifu instantly brought tears to Yun Qing Jinren's eyes. He sat down tremblingly, watching Lin Xiyen pour tea for him, his movements skilled and natural, as if time had flowed back 20 years to when that young genius would brew a pot of tea for his shifu every morning and then ask about cultivation problems. "You've aged," Lin Xiyen said. Yun Qing Jinren smiled bitterly. "This teacher, my heart is dead. My body naturally decays. The heart can die, but the Tao cannot stop." Lin Xiyen pushed the teacup over. "How long have you been stuck at the mid-stage of transformation, God?" 8 years. Lin Xiyen looked towards a mountain gate. "Where is Qinyu?" Yun Qing Jinren's face darkened. "Behind a mountain, on the thinking cliff. After you left, his cultivation was completely destroyed, his meridians ruined. I placed him there and sent people to take care of his daily needs. Take me to see him." Thinking cliff, the stone chamber. The place where Lin Xiyen was once confined, now housed another person. Qinyu lay on the stone bed, his face withered and lifeless, his eyes vacant. 10 years was torture, every moment, for a cripple. He could hear the sound from below the mountain. The Qinyan sect was growing stronger day by day. The disciples were talking about the changes in the continent, talking about the sun-like Thunder Emperor Palace, talking about the eldest senior brother they once despised. Every time he heard the name Lin Xiyen, his heart felt like it was being pierced by needles. 10 years, and he hasn't come to see me even once. Qinyu muttered to himself, his voice hoarse. "It's better this way than to let him see me like this. It would be better for me to die." The stone door was pushed open. Sunlight poured in, blinding Qinyu. He squinted and saw 2 figures standing in the backlighting. "ELD, eldest senior brother." Qinyu trembled, struggling to get up, but he didn't even have the strength to move a finger. Lin Xiyen walked to the stone bed and looked down at this once spirited junior brother. 10 years of torment had left Qinyu looking like a skeleton. Only his eyes retained a hint of spirit, a deep regret and despair. "Do you still hate me?" Lin Xiyen asked. Qinyu was stunned, then suddenly laughed, his laughter shrill like a ghost wail. "Hate? What right do I have to hate? It was me who was jealous of you. It was me who framed you. It was me who deserved this fate." He coughed violently, coughing up bloody foam. "These 10 years I've been thinking every day. If I hadn't listened to Shizuan's hints back then, if I hadn't tampered with the violet lightning blade, if I had spoken up for you in the main hall, what would have happened now?" "Unfortunately, there are no ifs," Lin Xiyen said calmly. "Yes, no ifs." Qinyu closed his eyes, 2 lines of murky tears streaming down. "Eldest senior brother, kill me. Give me a quick death." Lin Xiyen was silent for a long time, then extended a finger and pointed it at Qinyu's brow. A wisp of chaotic-colored lightning entered Qinyu's body. In an instant, Qinyu felt a warm power flowing through his limbs. The broken meridians began to rebuild, the withered dantian recondensed. Although his cultivation could not be restored, this power saved his life, allowing him to live like a mortal. "I won't kill you," Lin Xiyen retracted his finger. "From today onwards, you will move to the outer sect and become a handyman disciple. Chopping wood, carrying water, sweeping the floor, cooking. Use the rest of your life to atone for your sins." Qinyu was stunned, then burst into tears, struggling to roll off the stone bed, and pressed his forehead to the ground. Thank you, eldest senior brother, for not killing me." "I am not your eldest senior brother." Lin Xiyen turned and left. "I am the palace master of the Thunder Emperor Palace. You are a Qingyun sect handyman. That is all." Walking out of the stone chamber, Lin Xiyen said to Yun Qing, "Arrange a quiet outer sect courtyard for him, and send a disciple to take care of his daily needs. No special treatment is necessary, but don't let anyone bully him. The mistakes he made have already been atoned for with 10 years of living hell." Yun Qing nodded heavily. "Okay." Thunder Emperor Palace, the main hall. Lin Xiyen sat on the palace master's throne. Below him stood 9 elders and 36 protectors. "Palace master, in these 10 years, 3 major events have occurred on the continent. Grand Elder Lei Hao presented a jade slip. Firstly, 70% of the disciples from the original Thunderclap sacred ground have joined our palace. The remaining 30% are scattered throughout, having established 3 small thunder cultivation sects, all of which respect our palace. Secondly, the Qinyun sect, under the protection of the mountain protecting formation left behind by the palace master, has risen to become a first-class sect. Although Yun Qingzhenren's cultivation has stagnated, he is a capable leader, and the sect is developing rapidly. Thirdly, Lei Hao paused. 3 months ago, the Heavenly Mystery Pavilion deduced heavenly secrets and predicted that within 100 years, an ancient ruins will reappear in the world. It is rumored that it is a chance even more ancient than the Thunder Emperor's inheritance. Lin Xiyen took the jade slip and scanned it with his divine sense, understanding all the information. Ancient ruins. In his memory surfaced secrets recorded in the last layer of the 9 Heavens' divine thunder art. The Thunder Emperor was not a native cultivator of this realm, but came from an even more ancient and powerful world. The ruins of that world might indeed appear in this realm. I know. Lin Xiyen put away the jade slip, passed down the order. The Thunder Emperor Palace will open the 9 Thunder Trial from today onwards. All cultivators on the continent, regardless of sect or cultivation, can participate. Those who pass 9 levels can enter our palace's outer sect. Those who pass 12 levels can enter the inner sect. Those who pass 18 levels, he paused, can receive 3 days of personal guidance from me. A stir ran through the hall. The 9 Thunder Trial was the highest level of assessment in the Thunder Emperor Palace, and it hadn't been opened in 10 years. Now the Palace Master was not only opening it, but also giving such an astonishing reward. Palace Master, this second elder hesitated. Is it too generous? Lin Xiyen smiled slightly. What I want is not the strength of one palace, but the strength of the entire cultivation world. The Grand Tao of Thunder should not be limited to the Thunder Emperor Palace, but should be spread throughout the world. He stood up, walked out of the hall, and looked down at the 9 peaks shrouded in clouds below, and the vast continent even further away. 10 years. It's time to let the world see the true meaning of the Thunder Emperor's inheritance. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his hand and pointed to the sky. 9 chaotic thunders rose into the sky, exploding in the 10,000 zhang high sky, turning into thunderous words all over the sky, each word containing the true meaning of thunder. Those words formed the opening of a cultivation method, the first layer of the 9 Heavens' divine thunder art, the Foundation Establishment chapter. From today onwards, this chapter of the cultivation method will be spread throughout the continent, and anyone can practice it. The voice was not loud, but it was transmitted to every corner of the continent through the power of thunder. The world shook. Countless cultivators looked up at the sky, looking at the slowly dissipating thunderous words, some shocked, some overjoyed, some with tears in their eyes. The Grand Tao of Thunder would no longer be a secret of one family. In the name of Thunder Emperor Palace Master Lin Xiyen, at this moment, truly became a legend. Night fell. Lin Xiyen stood alone at the highest point of the 9th hall, looking at the stars. Another 10 years had passed, and he had finally completed his farewell to the past. The grudges of the Qinyun sect, the karma of the Thunderclap's sacred ground, had all faded in the river of time. Now, he wanted to look further. Ancient ruins, he whispered to himself. Thunder Emperor, is that where you came from? The chaotic thunder pattern between his eyebrows glowed slightly, as if responding to his question. Lin Xiyen closed his eyes, feeling the power within his body, vast as a sea of stars. The great perfection of the fusion realm was already the peak in this realm. But the 9 Heavens' divine thunder art still had 3 layers. Those were the cultivation methods for the tribulation transcendent stage, corresponding to the realm after ascension. The road ahead is still long. He opened his eyes, his pupils reflecting the starry sky and the boundless future.